gonna send out the tweet and then the story share.
Oh, I forgot to put on the music. Ooh,
Oh, okay. No worries.
there we go. It's on.
And share.
Hi, PS.
We go on Twitch.
Yeah, G is gonna be a bit delayed because you're on mobile, eh, G?
No. I just want to have the stream pulled up.
Yeah. Because I have the chat right in front of me.
Yeah. I thought I was following the podcast.
Oh, not G, not following his own podcast.
No,
That's
I am.
crazy.
It's just not popping. Okay, it just took a minute to pop up. Oh wow, not the.
Oh,
Okay.
not the echo.
Okay, that's good. All right.
Hi, Manny. Manny's here too. Hi, guys.
Welcome in.
Welcome.
Just
I'll be in and out. All good.
Okay, welcome guys. Episode 4 of the 2 Cents podcast. I almost said trash taste. Oh my god.
Trash taste.
And I'm G Jington. And I previously streamed. I should be streaming soon, hopefully. I do art, and I have my co-host here, Money. Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Manisa, but you can call me Money. I am a variety streamer. I usually stream on Fridays. I also do TikToks and YouTube and all of that fun jazz. And I'm gonna be eating a little bit because it's my dinner time. But yes, we have a beautiful, beautiful guest today. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mari. I used to stream, but I haven't streamed in a while. But I'm a teacher and part-time. I do a lot of things, but yes, real life has kind of took over. But I used to stream and stuff. But hello, my name is Mari.
Welcome in, Mari.
Welcome in, guys. So today we're going to be talking about. Oh, sorry. Well, I guess Mari should explain. Mari is your case manager, right, for middle schoolers. We're going to be talking. Sorry, say it again.
I'm a case manager and teacher.
Case manager and teacher. She's a case manager and teacher for middle schoolers, and we're going to be talking about the process of case managing for middle schoolers and also her experiences in teaching for that field. But first, as you guys know, we're going to get into the Am I the Asshole stories related to the subject. So I'm going to go ahead and read the first one.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to switch the scene.
Sorry.
Hime is here? Oh, Incurable Obsession is Hime. Okay, nice. Hi, Farah. I'm visibly shook. I was like, yo. Oh, you guys can't hear? Hold on, they can't. Can you guys hear G? She's really low. Ooh, dang. Okay, give me a second. It could be. You can hear me, but can you hear G and Mari? Oh no! Oh my god, you guys can only hear that. That's crazy. But no G? No! Oh no, it could be. Hold on, give me a second,
Opinion.
guys.
Okay. For the sake of no.
I did not change.
The screen is black on the
Yeah,
screen.
because I'm checking the audio stuff.
Okay. Oh, you can hear us now? Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, you can.
I wonder why. Oh.
I can hear G now. Huh?
You
Can you
hear
guys
us now?
Now is okay?
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so did you guys hear the story in general? Did you hear me read the story? Do I need to read the story over?
I need your.
Her too?
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
okay, you guys can hear. Okay, now they can hear. Okay, perfect. No, we don't.
Oh,
We didn't. Oh, they didn't hear the
Okay.
story? Okay, we're gonna have to.
So, okay, this is the part of the video that I need to edit. I'm just saying that for future. So this is okay. Wait, did you hear our introductions and everything too, or no? Damn.
No
Okay,
story.
so I guess we're starting over. Okay. Welcome in, guys. This is episode 4 of the 2 Cents podcast, and we're going to be talking about working with the mind of middle schoolers today. I am Jijinton. I am an artist, and I am a previous streamer. With me, I have my host, Money. Do you want to go ahead and introduce
Yeah.
yourself?
My name is Manisa, but you can call me Money. I'm a variety streamer. I usually stream on Fridays on Twitch, and I make TikToks and I make YouTube videos and other cool stuff. Oh, I also have a Ko-Fi shop, and I'm selling some paintings. So, yeah, and we have a beautiful, beautiful guest.
Hi, I'm Mari. I used to be a streamer, but I don't stream anymore. But I'm trying to stream again soon. But I also do outside stuff. I'm a teacher and a case manager, like a mental health worker for students. And yeah, I do a lot of other stuff like following and all the other crazy stuff. So
Hey, okay. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about working with the mind of middle schoolers, and Mari here is going to give us the rundown about like how the process for that and what case managing is like, and some struggles that middle school students get into. Because I know when I was in middle school, I didn't have a lot to worry about, like the social issues and all the other stuff that younger people have to worry about nowadays. So, but before that, we're going to get into our "Am I the Asshole" session. I'm going to start off with reading the first story, and then you guys give us your 2 cents. So, am I the asshole for telling middle schoolers that their grades don't matter? 8th grade athletes sometimes live with us high school athletes after school. One of them was getting super worked up about his grades and the electives he was taking because he feared it would affect the college he wants to go to. While him and I were waiting for our rides home, I began to talk to him and his friends about middle school. I tell them that their shit doesn't matter, and that as long as they don't care about getting whooped or yelled at by their parents, they can get as many F's as they want. Just get their shit together in high school and to not commit any felonies. Turns out I said it at the wrong time, because when I look over my shoulder, a teacher is standing behind me. She tells the 8th graders that I'm wrong, and all the typical bullshit parents and teachers tell their younger kids. She pulls me aside and scolds me. I do the typical BS apologetic stuff that most kids do when they get in trouble. But this teacher took it to the next level and informed my counselor. She told my counselor I was promoting bad behavior and swearing at middle schoolers because I said get your shit together, and not one adult has sided with me. Yeah, so my take is that the guy isn't the asshole. Obviously, the way in which he delivered the message wasn't good. I think from like the standpoint of like getting students into the mindset to be good, to do well in school and to take school seriously, of course, but like I think he's kind of telling them the truth. I feel like my experience, at least in high school, or people sweating middle school stuff, like grades didn't really matter, but at least for high school, I feel, yeah, that's where you really want to get it together. I think that at least the guy, he was giving his experience, and maybe that's why some parents and the teachers were writing him. But and it kind of makes their job harder too, I would imagine, if like the kids are rambunctious in middle school due to his advice, and then they're like, okay, well, I can get it together in high school. But yeah, go ahead, Mari. What did you think?
First things first, if it's a slight delay, I'm sorry. I'm going on a laptop.
Yeah, no worries.
But I'm gonna be the devil's advocate. Like I was saying in the beginning, I feel like telling students that it's okay to get Fs and not to care is kind of bad because the thing is like when you get your progress report cards, it's like the equivalent version of like you work in a job and you get your review. Like over like that period of months of you working at that job, yeah, you're not getting an actual letter grade, but you're showing like your performance wise of what you excelled at and what you lacked in. And I feel like the thing is telling kids not to care about their grades is also affecting their as a part of their job because I feel like going to school is a job itself. You have to learn certain things that even though I feel like not everything that you learn in school is going to be like put into your real life daily base, like your daily basis things and stuff like that. But I do feel like it teaches you accountability, responsibility, and certain things that are key aspects in like keeping like your learning yourself. So I don't think the cussing part's that bad because I feel like I feel like sometimes you want to like joke around with the kids and like not say anything like super vulgar, but you want to say like hell or ass or like shit, something like that, but nothing too crazy. But I do think telling them like not to care at a young age can stem a lot of like future problems because if they don't care about like simple grades, what else won't they care about in the future?
Right. I can see that perspective. What do you think, Money?
Honestly, Mari, like said basically what I was gonna say, but like I don't know. I think they are kind of the asshole because like if they like fuck around and like fuck all and they don't take middle school seriously, they won't take high school seriously, and then from there they won't even go to college, and they're kind of they have to just build that mentality that like the mentality to excel at school or at least try to get good grades because it will affect like the rest of your life and like the habits as Yori said in chat. But yeah, I think they are the asshole. It's kind of crazy though. Like I don't like the swearing is fine because middle schoolers swear all the time and stuff like that, but I do think the teachers or the counselors should have been a little bit more, I don't know, a bit more lenient to the person. They're kind of harsh. Not gonna lie, they're a bit harsh.
Yeah, I see both sides in the sense that like as an educator, you don't want that mentality for your students, and I don't think necessarily that the educator was too hard on them reporting them because like you kind of want to change that mindset. I still feel though that like I think he's right, but I feel like from a teacher standpoint, well, I'm not a teacher, but I'm just saying from like if I had to educate students and young minds, getting them in that mindset of working hard, that kind of hinders them if he's giving them that advice. I think there was a different way maybe delivered it where because I'm assuming that the reason he delivered it the way that he delivered it is to like because the guy was freaking out. He said that the let me just go back to the story real quick.
Like piggyback to like I feel like when it comes to sports wise, like I understand that sometimes like people are like like we want to play the sports because sports are a main thing in America, especially in the school system. But I do think that like even like when you hear national football players or basketball players, like if they get hurt or like during their off season, they have assignments, they have to work on things, their coaches tell them to do things, and
they still have to reach a certain grade. They have to maintain a grade even if you're doing sports.
It's like their form of homework. So it's like if we're teaching the students at a young age, especially that want to play sports like professionally, like not to care about like just the simple aspect of like doing assignments, like learning deadlines, having to study and train, it can kind of set them up for failure in that sense.
Okay, I understand that. I guess maybe the reason why I'm kind of taking the poster side is because my mom was a teacher, so like education was heavily drilled into me. So I always took school like I didn't take it that seriously to the point where I'm like as an eighth grader sweating in the middle of the night worrying about my future, but I always did take it seriously. Um, Let me just read some of the comments first before I go more into my opinion.
We can start with
Um,
ladies.
what's your word, ladies? Okay, lady says, yeah, but you're learning to study and have a schedule in middle school, which is very true. Having early discipline is important. Yuri says, I mean, if they develop a habit of not studying and goofing off, it's bad. Habits are hard to break, and their grades, depending on the type of school, if they apply to high school, it will make or break which high school they go to. That is true. I forgot also that like there are some high schools you actually have to apply to. I think that middle school is training for high school and so on and so forth. The stuff you learn in middle school is important basics. Yes, the grades don't matter, and possibly saying getting Fs is okay is kind of wrong. That's incurable obsession. Who is also a teacher. She teaches. Do you mind if I say where you teach? The country in which you teach, Ime? Don't be pressed about your grades is better than they just don't matter. Okay, that's hey, welcome in, Big Bang. Oh yeah, so Hime Incurable Exception is a teacher in Japan, so she teaches Japanese students. Yuri says,
Cool.
oh, whatever they do learn in middle school is the basics for what they will learn in high school, so it does matter. The teacher should have left it at just school. But Yuri feels that the teacher should have left it at just scolding. Hime says, professionally, a teacher shouldn't be swearing at work anyway. He's not wrong, but the way he talked about it was wrong, especially towards students. PS says they should be helping the kids to pass and learn. What do you think, Mari? Do you feel like the teacher went too far in how she disciplined the high schooler?
Well, also too, like I don't know a lot of people know because, like I said, being a teacher in California, they're passing a new law in certain districts in California where like it's not back then like like before 2020 and like 10 where you can just apply for a high school. Now they're actually making you test and actually like put on a wait list. Like they're actually trying to make a lot of public schools into private schools
Oh,
or just kind of get that profit. So it's like when you enroll into certain schools, you have to have like a certain like GPA or certain test scores and stuff like that. So it is kind of like good for them to learn that.
mhm,
But going back to your question, can you
mhm.
repeat it one more time? If I can answer correctly.
Oh, do you feel like the teacher went too far in the way in which she disciplined the high schooler? Where, because Yuri had said that she's felt like it was an incident, which I agree to. She said that it should have been left at scolding. At the same time, I don't think it's too bad as far as she went, just because I feel like nowadays, especially, teachers don't get paid enough to care, right? So it's very, at least this is just my opinion. Again, I'm not saying I have experience as a teacher. My mom was a teacher, so I'm just going based off my experience and seeing how she worked. Teachers don't get paid enough, and they make a huge difference in students' lives. And like, it's very rare to see teachers that truly care about their students rather than just getting a paycheck. So I don't see it that much as like she went too far, because I feel like it's the way she went far because she cared about also this student's high schooler's mentality. But that's just my opinion. I don't know from a teacher standpoint how you would see it.
I mean, I do. It's a yes or no. I feel like the thing is, it's about like when you want to choose to be a teacher and when you want to choose to be like an actual compassionate human being. Like I
Mhm.
feel like that I've just pulled off like yeah, like hey, like just for the future, I can't have you doing that because that's not a good mindset to do. But I do feel like as a teacher, sometimes you have to do your job because it's bettering the future. Like, yes, it may seem extreme, but the slightest like mistake or slightest like influence can really change a whole kid's like life in a quickness. Like, if you introduce weed to a kid, he can become a pothead just from that one small little puff.
Yo,
He can take one small
yeah.
puff, he can live, he can be a pothead. So the thing is, to me, do I think that she was doing her job? Because yes, because I've learned from being a teacher that life is like a butterfly effect. So with one step can lead to a fucking like fall to a lot of people.
Mm.
So I do think that like she did the right thing by making it extreme. But I also feel like maybe he need to understand like there is a cause and effect to his actions, if that makes sense.
I have two things to say
Okay.
on top of that.
Cool.
But like, on top of what Mari said, like teachers do have a huge effect on kids. Cause even me, like I've been traumatized from certain teachers. Like G knows the story. My first grade teacher, bruh, she traumatized me for the rest of my life, and that's where I get my abandonment issues from. I'm not even kidding. She traumatized me, and then on top of that, I heard that students are getting dumber. Like kids are getting dumber. This next generation. I heard that students, like kids are getting dumber. Like there's more kids who are diagnosed with ADHD and autism and all of that. And like it's like I don't know if it's something to do with maybe the education system, but I don't know. I can't blame the teachers for everything.
I think. Oh, good. I think
it's also like I'll say it's a funding, but it's also most kids that are in middle school are reading at like a 3rd or 4th grade level, which is really bad.
It's so bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah, I from what I've seen too, I think it's a combination of just like schools don't have enough funding. I feel like the curriculum is usually outdated. I had this conversation with Money earlier about like, just for example, a lot of people don't like to read. I love reading. I was brought up to read, to go to the library. That's like my favorite place. When I used to ditch on high school, I would go to the library. I'm a nerd. But I feel like even just for like English, for example, they don't have modern reading material for kids to actually want to engage and want to read, and do these reports and stuff. Like, for example, Mice and Men is great, right? And it has good themes and stories, but I can't relate to that as like a kid in 2020, 23 or 24, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like one of the reasons is the curriculum. But I feel more so it's on the parents. I feel like nowadays, like with everything, with just how the economy is and how work is, parents don't have a lot of time to be parents, or some of them don't want to be. And then they put their kids in front of just their iPad. Apparently, I think that's the new term, iPad parents, where they just give their kids the iPad and they go on Lululemon or whatever this shit's called. And like they get exposed. And I know I'm a child of the internet, but the internet was a lot different when I was younger than it is now, and what I had access to and what was in my mind. So just putting your kid in front, giving them the iPad and going off to relax or do whatever has like really messed these kids up. Like they'll know how to do TikTok dances and know how to do the newest trend or whatever, but they won't know how to. For example, it was just a joke video. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jordan Hallett. He does like the recipes on TikTok, whatever. But he was like, I got this clock, and I thought I was gonna be the cool guy at work. And like I asked my friend or my coworker to tell me what time it is, and he's like, they could not read the clock. They could not read the analog clock, and he's like,
I literally was, when my students come into my classroom, they're like, Miss Mari, what time is it? I'm like, I'm gonna look at the clock. They're like, I need to look at your computer. I'm like, no, look at the clock and what time is it? And they will not know. But it's really crazy because the thing is, like, I teach creative writing and art, but like with creative writing, like we have to read. And like we do a lot of like, we read like 2 books a month. But it really broke my heart that a lot of people use their like iPhones as a way to like correct themselves if they misspell a word. And the thing is, I feel like I'm always telling my parents, I'm like, you should have a word of the day with your kid. Like, I like a sticky note on the refrigerator or on the bathroom mirror or something, because there's a lot of times where they'll be using words they'll hear on TikTok or like YouTube, and they don't even know the meaning of it. Like my kids were using gaslight so much, and I was like, do you know the term and the definition of gaslight?
Imagine you're having a conversation with them like, this is problematic, and it's like, well, what is problematic?
And like one of my students like, I was like, do you know what gaslight means? And she was like, yeah, it's when someone's being mean. I was like,
no. I mean, kind of, but no.
In a form, yes, but it's not.
Mean is simple terms.
You're lightly warm.
That's the bare mean is like simple terms.
Yeah.
It's an understatement.
It's so it's really bad these days.
Okay, I'm gonna read some of your comments, guys. I know you're chomping at the bit here. Hold on.
I got a lot to say.
Okay. I'm gonna start from after I said Big Mac. Welcome in.
Welcome in,
Um,
Big Mac.
are they
And
making
Ella.
America Japan now? Because that's how Japan does schools, passing tests in order to get into high school.
Asia is like
I don't know,
scary.
yeah, like
Their
I have
education system is something else.
controversial opinions about how Japan does high school. Like for example, at least when I went, they actually post your test, like they have a ranking system
That's
of like
scary.
who scored what in Japan. So usually, like if you're a student, like what is it? Maybe you can should more like Hime, but just because I know I'm completely wrong, I haven't studied Japanese for a very long time. So you could be student 1600, right? And then they'll post your score. Like say there was a math exam, they'll post your score on a bulletin where everyone can see it.
I hate
And so
that.
if you score 64, you're going to be in that
Everyone's gonna
ranking.
see.
And everyone can see how dumb you are. And
It's like
I
humiliating.
get what they're trying to do because they're trying to build, competitive and like you don't want to look dumb.
Competition. Yeah.
But yeah, that's got to be hard mentally. I remember too when I was in Japan because we went to school. We went on a school trip and we actually did like a day of like Japanese high school. And I remember
cool.
the teacher was asking questions and like no one wanted to raise their hand because they were so afraid of getting it wrong. And I think one person did try. And they got it wrong, and the whole class laughed at them because of them being wrong. And I'm like, what? Like for me in school, I've never been afraid. One thing I'm thankful to my
That's a
mom is
rule in my classroom. I'm like, there's no dumb question. You can ask if you need help with something. But my kids don't do that. If someone asks us a question, no one laughs because I made a huge deal of it, and I made an example of one kid that was to be a class clown, and he would always make fun of one of the girls that he made fun of. She's dyslexic, and I went in on him. I was like, I will roast a kid and hold him like, and I was like, after that meeting, he didn't talk to me for 2 days, but then the third day he came up to me and he was like, can we have a conversation? I'm like, yeah. And he was like, I feel like you were being mean to me. I'm like, that's exactly how you made that girl feel. At the end of the day, she's a human, and I'm like,
yeah.
Just because she asked the question, that did not give you the initiative to just make fun of her and laugh at her because she didn't know. Like
you didn't know either.
That was not okay.
Yeah.
And then he felt bad, and when I made him when I broke it down, because the thing is I feel like I'm really loved by most of my students, but I try to treat them not like kids, but like young actual adults. Like you need to understand what you do. Like you do this in real life, this will literally get you in trouble.
Yeah.
And
they actually need that.
It's a pet peeve of mine where I hate when they don't do it no more. But in the beginning, when I started teaching, I used to hate that when kid would want to ask a question, but they would be so afraid because they don't want to get made fun of. I'm like, no.
Honestly, it was the same way for me growing up too. But just my mom's a teacher, so like she taught me that same thing. Like, there's no stupid question, and I didn't really care. No one laughed at me because, like, again, I'm not flexing or anything, but just because I've read so much, my vocabulary was like above what the level was that most of my peers was. So like no one really laughed at me because they were like, always, why are you using big words? And I'm like, just every word has a definition. Why would I use smaller words to say something I can say with one word, right? Like, just learn the definition. But that aside, it's just like, yeah, that's always been a thing. Like kids, even like when I was in my college classes, and my professor would ask questions, some of my classmates would not ask questions because they were so afraid of, I'm like, because like one of my friends, like I was like, the answer, why didn't you say it? She was like, oh, I was afraid I was gonna look stupid or I was wrong. And I'm like, so that's what we're here for. We're here to learn. You know what I mean? That's what we're here for, to make mistakes so that we can learn.
How else are you gonna learn?
Yeah, if you don't ask questions.
Yeah, and I was also very, very shy, so I never really asked questions, and I just kind of figured things out on my own.
Yeah, I've always been inquisitive, so I want to know. Like, for example, if I'm having a conversation with a friend, if I have a conversation with a friend or a family member and they use a word that I don't know, I'm not gonna sit there and pretend and be like, no, like, oh yeah, I get it. I'm like, hey, I don't know what that word is. Can you tell me what that means? I don't care if that looks stupid. I ask. You know what I mean? I want to know so that I can understand the kind of conversation we're trying to have. Lady says, you have to think about it this way too. If in middle school someone tells you you're trying hard isn't to get you anywhere, do you really think they're going to want to try hard in life later on? Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yes, dude. If their teaching methods aren't getting to the students, then maybe they should improve their methods instead of taking it out on the students. I mean, I don't know, because also there are students that are, I mean, for lack of a better word, they're not cooperative. And I feel like sometimes, at least for teachers, their methods are effective. Some students just don't want to conform, I guess. Not conform is not the best word, but they don't want to cooperate with the teacher. What do you think, Ari?
Like, well, like, what do you mean? Like, elaborate.
Hmm?
The
Elaborate on
bratty
one here,
kids,
because I didn't get to hear.
Oh,
the spoiled
well,
kids.
yeah. PS Dude said if their teaching methods aren't getting to the students, then maybe they should improve their methods instead of taking it on your students. And I think that's like a halfway thing, right? Because like I just gave the
I mean,
example of like the mice and men thing and like how that's outdated and you need something more modern to relate to students. But at the same time, I feel like students nowadays just don't want to do things sometimes. But I don't know. As a teacher, you would have better idea.
I
Also,
think the
go
thing
ahead.
is,
I'm gonna be right. I need to open the door real quick. Go ahead.
I do think that, like, when it comes to teaching, the one thing that I've learned the most at is that you need to allow kids to have that self, like, individual. I don't know, I always pronounce that word wrong, but just learn how to be like individual
Yeah.
and learning how to allow them to learn how to express themselves with freedom. I mean, I feel like you can still have some old ways of teaching, but you also can still relate some new modern
Like traditional and
stuff too. Like, it's,
modern.
yeah, like prime example, like for me, like during my curriculum, like I will have like the old school books like The Great Gatsby, Raising in the Sun, Mice and Men,
Yeah.
like Lord of the Flies. But then I also be like, well, hey, I know these books are pretty boring and you can't relate to them, so let's find a book that you will like. And a lot of them, like we go on like little book mobiles, like, or we go to like we take trips to like the library,
Oh,
and
cute.
they'll choose a book. They'll choose a book, and I don't. If it's a graphic novel, it can be anything. I'm like, as long as you can learn something from it and you are enjoying reading it, that's all that matters to me. And most of the time, my kids are like happy because I did have one so the one girl that she was dyslexic. She was reading a lot of like small books, but then like she's been getting bigger like graphic novels that are very more like
Yeah,
have
I love
more
to
words in
I
it.
love to read manga and stuff like that. I remember I used to read a lot of mangas
Yeah, I
And
feel like
she's reading a lot of stuff now, you
or
know?
comic books.
So I don't know.
yeah.
It's like a mixture.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
you can go.
Yeah, I feel like teachers should be more adaptable. Like Money said, we're in manga. She enjoyed manga, and that was something that got her to want to read.
Yeah.
And I feel like teachers need to adapt instead of holding on to the old ways. Like manga does. Like I know so many people that write off manga and anime as just being cartoons, where they're like, there's so many lessons you
Yeah.
can learn.
But you
from,
learn a
like,
lot.
there's deep themes in there about friendship and cooperation,
Yeah.
and a society in general. And I'm not just sure about manga, but I'm sure there's like Korean stuff like manhwa, and they
I
have
love
their own.
manhwas.
It's just like adapting and actually learning as a teacher what works best for your students, so that like whatever I forgot the medium maybe that they
Yeah, because
use to
some
learn
kids
or
could be visual
engage in.
learners instead of
Yeah.
yeah.
See, my mom thought I was dyslexic because when I was in second grade, I could not read. Like I was having a hard time reading, and I did not like reading at all.
Mhm.
And it was till I came across this one teacher named Mrs. Oliver. That lady was so mean. She was so evil, but she saved me because one day her son owned a comic book store in LA, and she bought me like this comic book based on this little black girl. And I tell you, I read that like 6 times a day, that for like a month. And after that, I like found out that what comics were. And at the age of like 9, from all the way until like the age, I was saying from 9 to like 18, I was reading comic books back to back. Like because of comic books, I started reading like Harry Potter books. I started reading like a lot of bigger books and stuff. And I was so prepared for high school because I found something that was like an introductory for me, and then I like was able to work myself up. And I feel like a lot of times too, like people think that throwing like big books in kids' face is a way for them to learn, but it's like they can start off small and they can work themselves up. So it's like working with the kids and like seeing where they're comfortable at and helping them build that like foundation.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I think there definitely needs to be a lot more representation when it comes to reading material, because I feel like that's the only way. You have to feed the hunger, and like you have to find. Unfortunately, in a sense, it's like having a toddler, right? Sometimes your toddler is not going to eat what you put in front of them. You have to find out what they like to eat, and then based
Yeah.
off what they eat, start them with that, and then move them on to things that are more nutritious for them. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they like cheese. Put some cheese on their broccoli so they get them to eat, and then eventually introduce them to other vegetables, cauliflower, green beans, stuff like that. But just gonna read some more comments here. I'm gonna try to catch up with chat first because I know we're yapping, guys.
We're way behind in
It's good
chat.
yapping. It's good yapping though.
We're way behind. I wish I could reply,
Okay.
but I can't
Yeah.
sign into the Streamlabs. So it's because it's the code is
maybe
to
you
your
can-
email.
Can you load on your phone?
Yeah, that's what I've been.
Maybe?
I've been
Okay,
replying on my
replying on
phone, so it
Okay.
looks like I'm
80 and-
distracted. But yeah.
Okay. Hime says ADHD and autism is a different thing though. Which
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, did I go past? Yeah, oh yeah, I did. Sorry. Lady says understandable, so teachers need to be better examples as well. Yuri says it's an education system that is just getting worse, which I have to agree with, I think. ADHD and autism is a different thing though, which has to do with high level / high functioning ADHD autism becoming less so because of the way the world works / the way we have to interact with the world. So what would have been easy to mask now is not as easy to mask. That's true. I've never really considered how much ADHD and autism play into education. Hime says, sorry, this is very hard to explain. Oh no. I see it.
okay.
It's just like
see
I've
it.
never really took into account also mental disability. PS Dude says, I swear social media is rotting our youth brains. Big Mac Daddy says, I work with kids with autism and they're all addicted to iPad and
Coco Melon.
Yeah, I was just talking about that earlier. Because the kids are like robots because parents stick them in front of the screen all the time once they're home. Yeah, they don't want to deal with it. It is a parent's job to get their kids through or help them. At least when I was younger, my mom and my dad helped me with my homework when I came home. They didn't just put me, and I couldn't even watch TV. Like I couldn't
Can't watch TV
It
until
took
you're
me-
done your homework.
Yeah, I couldn't. No, they wouldn't let me watch TV Monday through Friday.
Oh,
They're
Okay.
really strict about it. Fridays, and I live for Saturdays because I can play video games. But Monday through Friday, I couldn't play. I had to read. I could read a book, which I love books, so it didn't really
Yeah.
help. It didn't really. But at the same time, it took a while for me to convince them to like, can I at least after I'm done with my homework, But yeah, it's again different generation, right? Ella says, welcome in, Ella, by the way.
welcome in.
I think greater amounts of diagnosed children also have to do with the increased research and general acceptance. In the past, there was more resistance to accept that your child has ADHD, but now people seek diagnosis and solutions to help their kids. That is true.
Oh, so it's like
A lot of parents
undiagnosed
didn't want
in the
to,
past.
diagnose their kids, and that has hindered them in life moving forward. Yuri says social media and phones do make it harder for someone with autism to socialize in real life, since doing so online is safer and easier. At least that's my case. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like it gives them a way of escape, but at the same time it isolates them from society. Lady says kids shouldn't be able to post on social media until they're 16, 17. Unpopular opinion.
Yes.
I had
No, I
Facebook when I was
agree.
13.
You think so?
I'm sorry. I
But
did
yeah,
cut
you're
you
right.
off, but I totally do it
Mm.
because I feel like there is the good kids that use social media for fun and laughter, and there are the kids that still are repeating and keeping the cycle of bullying and cyberbullying. And I think a lot of kids, like I have so many like kids show me hate pages from the middle school that I work at, and like it's like people taking pictures of them, making TikTok videos.
Oh my
like,
god.
definitely there should be like a parental like lock on
Mhm.
certain things, or you should. I feel like, okay, well, I've said this before because I do have like a couple of my students are on contracts and stuff like that, but I feel like if you abuse social media and you abuse your cell phone, then you should have to sign your rights away. Like you have to give me your phone and you can get it back when the day is over, but some students don't deserve their phone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and definitely in class, I don't think phones should be even like because again, it distracts from the learning process, right? I even remember like because I'm just putting my age out here. I was in my last year of high school was 2008, and that's when it was started to become a thing where you were having phones and like people were texting and like instead of paying
Yeah,
attention, like
my
obviously
generation was the one that was all into
yeah,
social. We were like
because
probably the
like
first one using
yeah, the
social
internet
media
was
more.
still slow on phones and stuff like that. Like you could barely load a YouTube page. I remember like the resolution was like 480p or whatever. Um, but yeah, I can imagine how it's a problem now when like these are essentially just small computers, right? Um, yeah, that's probably another discussion. We'll probably discuss like technology in school in the
Oh
future
yeah, social
too, because
media.
I feel like
Hmm.
yeah, I want to get through chat, and but lady, that's a subject I definitely want to get into. I'm not like
Yeah, lady.
dismissing your comment, but that's definitely gonna have to be another podcast episode. Kime says it's an increase of awareness. Definitely, the amount of ADHD and autism hasn't increased, but instead, that's easier to find slash higher functioning individuals becoming less functioning in a world where everything can trigger responses. That is very true. I don't know. I kind of agree with that. I don't think so much that it's increasing. I think that it's just that again, like Elle said, it's that parents are not again opposed to getting them diagnosed or denying that they have said disorder or mental disability. It's just now that I feel like we're becoming a lot more accepting of some things. It's more prevalent. Um, Hime says it's not a rot of the brain, but that the internet is relatively new and our access to it is also relatively new. And we haven't gotten to the point where we have found a solution that works for children plus the internet. Yeah, because like what Mari said, I don't definitely agree. Students shouldn't be able to use their phones in school. However, and they also shouldn't have access to certain avenues of the internet. But I wouldn't want to stifle their exposure to it because that is the direction I feel society is heading, where like the internet is just everything. With AI, and that's an entirely different conversation. But we're moving to an age which is completely, or will be completely digital eventually. Like I still remember I was talking to Money about this earlier, about like filling out job applications and like I used to have to go to the shop and like
The good old
get a
fashioned
paper
way.
application. Yeah, and I was also talking to another friend about it of just like getting a job is harder because like job bosses and like these managers, they just process you by your information. They don't actually get to know you as a character. So while on paper you might look like a good candidate, in person you're not, right? You don't have the social skills to work a job. You don't know how to be polite. You just you don't follow a procedure. And again, on paper you look fine, you're great, you have the qualifications, but like in actual, no, you don't. And I
Just
feel
to
like we're
add
losing
on to
that
that,
human touch.
nowadays, if you're applying for jobs, like when you put in your resume and stuff like that, like employers use like an AI system to run through key skills and words, run through your applicant with keywords, and they'll select you based on the certain words using AI. Like they won't even look at it. They'll use a machine to scan through your resume. They're not even gonna look at it until the AI shows you, hey, this person meets this words. So AI is being used for jobs too, to hire people.
Just and then also college kids and high school kids too are using AI to write their papers, which, not gonna lie, if I was a kid in high school, I would have did it. I'm just gonna be working.
Bro, I'm still doing it.
But they're stupid about it, because what they'll do is they'll have them type out the entire paper and not like edit it. So they put in their own human touch, and then they get caught out. I'm not giving you advice on how to do this, by the way, guys. I'm just saying, I'm just commenting on.
I just literally gave one of my students an F because she plagiarized.
Oh yeah, that, and it promotes plagiarism too. But yeah, it's difficult. Like teachers have to fight a huge battle with this, right? Because it's not just, like I said, teachers have to deal with a lot, because like it's like they're having to fight a new enemy on every front now. It's crazy.
One of my middle schoolers did that.
Go ahead,
I was like, why would you? I was saying, because we had a writing class, and I was like reading her paper, and I'm like, and I like started like research. I was like, let me just start researching, and I'm like typing in stuff that she's saying, and like it took me to like this whole thing. I was like,
You can use a plagiarism checker too.
I know. I had to. I took her whole paper, and it was like 70 to 82% of just everyone. I was like,
man.
it was so bad because the thing is, for during parent teacher conference, that was like they had to present that to the parents, and so when she like at her meeting, her mom was like,
Uh-oh.
she was like, Miss Murray, tell me, she let me see my A, tell me what I did good, and I was like,
so the thing
Right
is,
from the parents.
oh,
and she was like, no, I was like, plagiarized. I was like,
oh, darling.
I found it was just, and it sucked too. Not even to make this like a race thing, but like she was like, I think she's Korean, and her mom was like fucking lit.
Oh no!
Oh,
I small the rest of that conference, she was like mad. I was like,
oh
I
no.
know she got it when she got home.
When she got home.
Oh,
I was like,
oh no!
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean.
You know the worst part is that she hyped herself up before she.
She did.
I wouldn't be so confident.
I love her.
Jesus, yeah. Like I said, but you got it right. It's for their benefit. But yeah,
I mean, I got in
crazy.
trouble in university for plagiarism, even though I used citations, and the TA, it was one paragraph in my essay, and she said I plagiarized the entire thing. And I was like, I cited properly. And then she's like, no, you didn't cite this properly, therefore it's plagiarism. Because I used like the APA format. She's like, no, you're supposed to use MLA format. You cited it wrong.
Interesting. And at least here in the States, at least for me, a lot of it was APA format in college. I don't know for you.
Like you could choose AP or MLA. Now I use APA. But...
Yeah. I was gonna say with money. You can choose now, especially
you can
college.
choose.
Like,
well, you can choose now.
Some profs are very strict though.
I didn't have a choice. I had to do APA.
Yeah,
some profs
school, like I think it's more, but in college you can definitely choose.
Anyways, I got in trouble for plagiarism, and then I asked to redo it, and she didn't let me. So,
like I said, the influence that teachers give over you that probably traumatized you too.
I was so pissed.
I mean, I told my student she can rewrite it. She just can't.
That's nice.
I love the meme.
My teacher's assistant didn't let me.
You tried to save her, but
yeah, you let her rewrite it, and I didn't get the second chance, and I was very upset.
I was like, I won't give you an A, but if you rewrite it good, I'll give you a B+, which is close to an A.
How did her mom take it?
Her mom was mad. Her mom was very pissed.
Because again, like the parents also do play a role into how well the students perform too. Because I read a story on just like how the pressure to just get good grades broke one kid by his parents. So yeah, I can only imagine. Hime says, I am the same. I treat my students like they're adults, not that they're kids. My students, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop trying to have these little mini conversations so we can check with chat, guys. My students also don't speak the language I speak and are supposed to use English in my classes, but they are so scared sometimes. So I hate that I'm forced to use only English in class. I don't because I'm not going to make any students afraid of me. L says, LOL, I still get called out for taking too smart with big words. It definitely forced me to limit my growth as a child or be self-conscious about it. Yeah, I hated that. Like, don't tell me. Just read a dictionary. I'm sorry to be condescending, but yeah, like, word of the day, like Mari said, get a dictionary. And Hime says, and I use the crappiest JP in my class, so my students will still hear that speaking badly is okay. Lady says, I had to dumb myself down in middle high school because of my peers, and now I regret it. Hime says, oh my god, one of my kids brought in their BL manga for show and tell. That was amazing.
I love BL.
Oh yeah. But I had to nicely tell her that manga with sussy stuff shouldn't be brought to school. Just be careful. P.S. said, love me some graphic novels. Watchmen is a great one. Manga, L says, manga is beautiful and storytelling. Let's see.
Sussy meaning sussy stuff in their manga.
Yeah.
The freaky deaky.
Yeah. Hime is also a very big BL enthusiast.
Oh yeah. Me and Hime, we're gonna have a conversation with BL later.
Some context, Mari.
Yeah. Hime, hit me up after stream. We're gonna talk about BL.
Not having phones or laptops in school because we didn't even have smartphones. Even having a laptop in college was so rare. Um, Kime says, when my students try to use Google Translate to do their homework, and I'm like, okay, tell me what this means. And they're like, girl, you think I don't know your English level? Please. Um, Lady Jagan says, well, that will teach her to write down her own shit. I did get in trouble. PS says, I did get in trouble at middle school for plagiarism. Never again after that. Oh, damn. Y'all really out here plagiarizing? That's crazy. Hime. Oh, my college was MLA, no choice. Oh, that's interesting, Hime.
Yeah,
Was this when
it's
you
different.
lived in your hometown? Again, I don't want to dox you, because I know you personally, so I don't want to like give away your stuff. PS says, luckily I was able to do my paper and got a B. Yeah, thankfully you had a
Yeah,
forgiving
I never
teacher.
got to redo my paper.
Oh, and you're in America. Okay. Yeah, I was like, yeah, like I don't know. I just, for me, just growing up, I just always hated like copying others. Like I feel like even if I failed at something, at least it was my failure, right? It was my thing. I just didn't take. I'm not trying to be condescending or high and mighty or anything. It's just I've always had the thing of like, if it's not mine, then I can't take pride in that, right?
Do you know
If
the
I-
meme? It's like, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
But just make sure you change the
copy
words.
over, but change the answer. Yeah, but yeah, like I don't know. I can understand the pressure, especially like for students that like their parents are on their ass about getting good grades. Again, not to like stereotype or anything, but usually it's like Asian parents that are like, if you get a B, they're not satisfied unless you get an A. So I can understand the pressure to want to get good grades and why you would plagiarize.
I used to get good grades
I don't know if
in
you
elementary
have
school.
a different opinion, Mari.
My mom's not Asian, but she acts like an Asian mom.
No?
I cannot come home with C. No, I'm not. I've had all A's my whole life.
Mhm.
But I remember the first time in middle school, I was getting kind of bullied, and I was ditching two of my classes. But then I eventually was like, she found out she didn't go to class. But then I was like, I have 2 C's. She was like, I have 2 weeks to bring it up. I was like,
Mhm.
girl, what am I supposed to do in 2 weeks?
I can't do nothing with this.
Yeah. And after the 2 weeks was done, she came to the school and she she told my teacher, like, give her like extra credit, give her like this. I was like, lady, I can bring it up to A's, just chill. But
Mhm.
no, my mom's not very hard grades.
Yeah.
Even in college too, she was like,
Mhm. Yeah, my
Yeah,
mom was
like-
always about school. Like
Same.
B's, she would be like, okay, B's are fine. C's, no, we're not having that. Because she was like, that's a slippery slope. Hime says, my mom was so happy when I graduated high school. She didn't even care about my grades. I was the one going, Mom, I need a 4.0. And she's like, what's that? Yeah, that too. I feel like, because, well, I'm not sure what your student population is, but I feel like also having foreigner parents also plays into a role about like how seriously they take school, because some of them didn't even finish school. I know my dad went and got his GED. He's from like the West Indies, Trinidad, and like his parents couldn't afford to send him in school, so he was a farm kid. He worked on a farm, and like when he came to America, he just studied and got his GED. But yeah, I don't know what your school population looks like, Mari, or if you feel like certain demographics or certain parents' ethnicities care more or care less.
I work at a mostly Black and brown school, so it's it's like Black, Latin, Arabic, Filipino, Thai, but we have like maybe like and the thing is too, like we have like two kids that are white, but Lola, she's one of my students, but she's half Korean, so she's not really like fully white, but like most of my students are like Black and brown. So that was the one thing that I wanted to do, was that I felt like I worked at an all like kind of like Asian and white school, and I felt like I wasn't really making an impact, and I didn't really feel as motivated. And when I went to like my new location, which I've been there for a couple of years now, I feel like there's a lot of work to be happening in the Black and brown youth, and I like, whether it's like Filipino, it's Thai, Latino, or Black, like, or even Arabic, like Middle Eastern. I want to like make a difference in all the kids' lives.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I think I feel like diversity is very important, especially now. I feel like there's a lot more in terms of media. Like, there's a lot more ethnicities being shown. Like, I know a lot more Filipino things, or at least in animation, because I like watching a lot of animated stuff. I see a lot more Filipino representation and Thai representation. So it's like you said too, going back to when you were talking about like finding that comic book with that little black girl, and how that made you feel seen, and made you want to learn. Like, it's important to have that nowadays. Um, Hime says, my mom, Spanish from a very poor background, also got her GED, so she just wanted me to be educated. Oh yeah, see, like that too was like some parents are just like, oh, you just get your high school diploma, that's enough. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with having Matai, because like obviously they never had aspirations to go to college or further their education, because for some families just getting your high school diploma is like a big major deal, right? And then that's enough, because they don't have knowledge of college and like further education and things you can learn. So for sure. Yeah, but I think we strayed away from the "Am I the asshole" story too. Like, so I'm assuming you and Money agree that this guy is the asshole.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll just do one more. I had 3, but I guess we'll do one more since we got into a huge conversation.
We're just yapping. We're yappers.
Yeah, we're yappers. Mari, do you want to read the next one? You can choose out of the other 2 which one you want to do.
I'll read the second one.
Okay. Which one is that one?
I think it's the I'm too sensitive for rules, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can do that. Just gonna give Money a minute to pull it up on her reader.
Damn. Wait, okay. Okay. Am I the asshole for making wait, no.
Oh, am I the asshole for being too sensitive? Okay, yeah.
There you go.
No worries. Yeah, I try to find some middle school Am I the asshole stories, but there's very little, which it makes sense. I don't really see the middle schoolers be on
children. Yeah, I was gonna say children shouldn't be on Reddit anyways.
I mean, yeah, they definitely should.
Really, no, they shouldn't.
They definitely shouldn't. It's crazy.
Am I the asshole for too sensitive about the rules at my middle school? I'm 13. I think I'm 13, a female. Recently told my teacher that I think the rules at my new middle school are crazy. This was mostly because there are multiple rules that are frankly just weird, such as all the girls have to have the small girl haircut, aka short hairstyle, that doesn't touch the collar of their uniform and can't have layers. I think that this rule is really silly and stupid to put in gentle terms, because when I joined the school, I had to cut my long hair that reached my thighs. After that, I went on this long rant to my teacher about this. Later, she simply told me that I was being too attached to my hair and that school board knows what's best for me, and that I should have put my opinions in more gentle terms. I just stared at her blankly and then left the classroom a few minutes later. Later that day, she confronted me and told me I shouldn't be so sensitive. Oh my God. And that I should respect my elders and that I had to stop being an asshole about it. Basically, when she told me I had to complete an essay about the respect and hand it to her tomorrow. So what do you think? Am I the asshole?
Excuse me. I don't know if that's allowed, but you can't assign a child private essays. That might be. I don't know about like the ethics for teachers and stuff like that.
Hold on.
I think she could get in trouble.
I'm really just shocked that she confronted the student and told her she was being too sensitive. That's so like, I don't know. I tell my students all the time, I say your voice and your feelings are valid. Like, if my students overreact about a situation that I feel like that doesn't need that reaction, or they're mad about something that's not that deep, I never tell them like, oh yeah, you're being sensitive or you're overreacting. I'm like, you're entitled to feel the way you feel. If you feel like this was crossing your boundaries or you took it to heart, then I'm in no person to police your feelings and your voice.
Mhm.
But going to the student and telling that they're being too sensitive, no, she was an asshole for that.
Yeah, I mean
She
that
was
too, and it wasn't her fault. It was the student board, which is crazy to me. Like, I don't see why she would need to cut her hair. I never got that with the hair regulation thing, where they're like, "Oh, your hair is distracting someone." Like,
I
well,
think
there are
in
many other things
Asia,
going
you
on
have to
in
put your
school.
hair up in a ponytail, but
Yeah, I know in Japan you can't have your hair dyed. I don't know if that still
If it
stands.
was dress code, I'd have been like, okay, cool, because like at my school, some of my girl students, they'd be rocking crop tops and they'd be showing off the belly button piercings. I'd be like, okay, bring it down, bring it
Mhm,
down. But I feel like me personally, this is just like I said, being more on the compassionate grace side. I feel like, especially for girls, hair can define you, and I feel like
mhm,
making her cut her hair could have really played a part in it made her be insecure or
mhm.
not even wanting to be at school and be resentful. So I definitely
Yeah, I
think
would have
that
been
role was
tight because she said it was to her thighs. You know how
yeah,
yeah,
long
I'm
your
not
hair has to be for that?
that's
They could have
long
even
ass
said
no.
hair.
they can, and if even if like for some reason they justified a distraction, they could have been like, "Well, please tie it in a ponytail and put it in a hat or something like that."
Or
You
put
know
it
what
in
I
a
mean? If
bun
she
or
didn't want to
something.
cut it or bun or something, yeah. Just that's insane.
I'm
That is
attached to my
insane.
hair. I was telling G,
Yeah.
I got my hair cut recently, Mari. I don't know if you know, but yeah, my hair got cut so I just wanted to trim. The barber cut it so short, and the first night when I went home, I was crying. I cried all night because I didn't want it this short, and like because I just asked
did
for a
see
trim.
no,
Yeah, but like now
I
I'm
saw your
sorry. I'm now
hair.
it's grown on me, but like I'm attached. Like
You
it's
know, I can
devastating for a girl. Like imagine a middle schooler. Like I'm an adult and I still cry over there.
yeah. I imagine the
No,
barber just tunes into the podcast. He's like, "See, I was right all along, huh?" Yeah.
no, I just feel like certain things defined. Like I don't feel like I feel like certain things defined a person. And I
Mhm.
was gonna say a girl, but I don't want to put that like onto like a gender. But I definitely feel like hair, certain things define a person,
Mhm.
and I feel like she obviously loved her hair if she was growing it out to her thighs. She
Mhm.
must have put time, money, and products and commitment into her hair,
Yeah.
which is a very like a good admirable trait because it's like okay,
Mhm.
she's taking good care of her hair. It shows like what else she can take care of, but
Mhm.
making her cut her hair. I don't know. Me as I would have been a parent, I'd have been pissed. I didn't know
Yeah.
what is that rule?
Yeah. I mean,
Why?
yeah, I
Can't do
definitely agree. I feel like people downplay the importance that hair plays into your identity. I remember in high school, because like now I'm kind of losing hair, but in high school I had a lot of hair, and my mom would never let me do what I wanted. I never got to experiment with it. I always had to get the Caesar cut, which is infamous in the Black community. You get the Caesar cut, the low top, whatever. And I always regretted the fact that I didn't get to experiment with my hair. So I can only imagine having to cut all of it that length and grow it off for a young girl. Like, and just me being upset about not being able to style my hair the way I wanted to. Yeah, that's insane. So she's definitely not the asshole. Also speaking, I don't know, Mari, can teachers do that? Can they assign projects that have nothing to do with like the curriculum? Like, because the teacher in the story says that she said that she had to what was it?
Write an
Later that
essay
day,
about respect.
yeah, about respect and hand it in to her tomorrow.
That's crazy.
Like, I'm assuming she's not going to get
the
credit for that.
Well, the thing is, I hate to say it because even though I work in the system, the school system is kind of like based on where you live and what the district allows. So it's like if you like in a different state, or you're like in a different city, or you're in a different like type of country, they could allow some shit like that. I mean, personally, I do feel like that's a
because I feel like that's overstepping, right? Abuse of power, yeah.
That's what power because it to me is I feel like if you're forcing a kid to write about respect, they're never gonna respect you. And I feel like that's gonna cause a very drift between her and her student because it's like, okay, what does that essay have to correlate to her saying like her speaking her mind? Like if she feels like a rule of stupid, she's entitled. She's not like she's like doing a protest or making signs. So I felt like the teacher definitely was an asshole and took it personal because her delivery was very, very mature and very, very like intellectual about it. And she was like,
Mm.
this doesn't make any sense. And she probably actually raised a good point. But I don't think that it's appropriate to give a student a personal assignment because
You
she
felt some
schooled
type of
your ass.
way. Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
some kids are
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
I sometimes kids get me, you know, they're like, oh damn, you are smart.
Mhm.
But I don't think that would be appropriate for her to do.
Okay. That's interesting. Oh wow, that's crazy. I don't know how I would have. I don't think I would have wrote that essay. I just hit the F. But
I wouldn't.
yeah, there's no way. Or maybe I would have wrote a like sassy essay.
Passive aggressive essay.
You know, passive aggressive essay. Yeah. Okay.
No, no, I'm right.
Let's see. Read some of the comments. Oh,
I've been reading the comments.
Oh, Hime says also making them cut their hair. That's crazy. Yeah. And yes to all this in Japan. Yeah. They can't dye their hair in Japan. I think it's like after they graduate, then they can do whatever. And even then, it's kind of looked down upon. I don't know if it's still the stigma that like you're delinquent if you dye your hair after high
Or
school.
have
but
tattoos.
yeah, I think it might be shifting.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
probably changing.
At least I've seen a lot of Japanese people get tattoos.
I
and
see a
stuff
lot
like
of Japanese
that.
people dye their hair.
Yeah, I know. At least when I went, you couldn't, in order to get into the bathhouses, you couldn't have tattoos as a foreigner too, because they associated that with the Yakuza, or at least that's what I was told. Yori says, I think the essay was more like punishment, so no credit. She couldn't make the whole essay about respect and about how telling her she's overreacting is disrespectful to her. Yeah. Hime says, you can only dye your hair in college. And Hime says, tattoos must be covered even now. Oh, okay. So I was wrong. Thought times were changing, but they're pretty firm. I don't know. I feel like with Japanese policy, they're really, really slow to change. It's really hard. But yeah, I can only imagine. All right. So I guess we're done with the Am I the Asshole? We can get into the questions I have for you, Mari.
I had one question for Mari.
Oh,
I'm very
go ahead,
curious.
go ahead. Mm-hmm.
How, like,
Fine.
if there's a, how do you like discipline the children, your students? Like, if someone's acting up,
How do I discipline?
yeah. What is the best way to like discipline?
It just, that's very hard because I feel like with students, it's very like, it's like a curveball. Like, you never know what you're gonna get wise. So I feel like it depends on the scenario and the person. And if it's like something on the borderline of like very like racial slurs, homophobic, or just being prejudiced against someone with disability, then I go
dang.
like full extreme. I'm like,
like,
know,
no
like reading the
tolerance
person.
towards that.
No tolerance for that. But I also do think the one thing that I teach my students, like, what the thing is, I will be a tough ass and I'll go hard on them. But then after we're done talking, whether they respond to it or not, I go up to them and I tell them, like, I care about you, but you need to understand that things can really, really hurt you in the long run if you have a certain type of mindset or certain type of like, you know, like actions or like certain type of cycles and stuff. And most of the times my students, like after that they realize what I said, they like will open back up and stuff like that. But I give them room to grow. Like, I feel like kids have to make mistakes and learn to love their mistakes, because learning to love their mistakes is like a form of helping them grow into a better person. Because I mean, I know I've made bad mistakes. I've done a lot of bad things. And then there's times too where I've messed up like as a teacher, but I give myself grace to like love that mistake so I can be better. And I think that with my students is like, after I'm done being a hard ass on them about it, they're like, you're such a mama bear, but they want to get better. They want to change. And that's like the best part about it. But I don't baby them. I baby them unless like, it's like something like if they're going through some like real life stuff and they don't need that type of like harsh like love at that moment. But 90% of the time, if they do something wrong, I'm like, they'd be like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, you know better than that. Like, what are you doing? Like, we know the rules. We know we shouldn't be doing certain stuff. So,
oh, you're such a good teacher.
Too, based on that, I don't know. I feel like
go.
I feel like in general, kids actually crave discipline. Not in the sense that like, oh, I'm gonna get punished or like that, but just having maybe like I'm trying to find the right word for it. like order in a sense of like they know where they stand with their parents and things like that. Do you agree with that sentiment, or just
I will, instead of saying like
because like how
discipline,
you said like they appreciate you correcting them, right?
yeah, I think the word I would replace and use is, I think kids crave support.
Mm,
I think a lot of times too, like nowadays, parents are working 9 to 5 jobs, and by the time they're off of work, they have to cook dinner, they have to prepare for other kids, they have to prepare for like their work day tomorrow, or they have to like do a lot of stuff. So a lot of times, it's two kids go to school to get that support from their friends, to get that
mm,
love and that laugh, and certain type of things they don't get at home from their teachers. And
mhm,
the thing is, I feel like a lot of my kids love to play with me, and we even, like I said, like I just started helping with flag football, and like we'll joke around and like wrestle and stuff like that.
mhm,
But like most of my kids know like that I support them, I love them, and that's the thing is like it's heartbreaking because a lot of parents are like they're so strict and they're hard on their kids, and
mhm,
they are being parents, but they're also forgetting that it's not always putting these responsibilities on the kids. It's about loving the kids too. Because if you support a kid and you let a kid know, like, hey, like, I understand you made a mistake, but we got to work on you doing better and helping you grow as a person, kids have a better relationship with their parents and elders in general. But when the parents are like, oh, yeah, I'll deal with it, and then they just discipline them and not actually try to help them reflect or anything like that, the
mhm,
kids are doing the same shit all over again. And it takes that one teacher that's like, I love you and I care about you, and this is why I'm doing this for you. And
mhm,
those are the kids that end up going back and visiting those teachers because they're like, you actually cared about me. You actually loved me. You actually wanted me to like achieve and stuff like that. So I feel like kids do crave support, in my
mm,
opinion. That's just, yeah,
oh yeah, I can agree with that. Um,
yeah.
because
Basically,
they
school is
definitely,
like a second home to them. They spend more
yeah,
time at school than
Yeah.
they do at home, anyways.
Mhm.
yeah, because they definitely some kids don't get that at home,
Yeah.
and for some of them,
Yeah.
school is an escape, which is why a lot, at least in my opinion, why they bully others because the frustrations and like if they're getting bullied at home, they can't necessarily take it out on their parents, right? But they can take it out on someone that's weaker than them or less social than they are. But that's just my opinion.
Doesn't excuse their
Um,
bullying though,
yeah, it's not.
because
Oh
that
no, it's
means
definitely not
they're
excuse for
traumatizing another kid
bullying.
with the bullying.
Hmm. Hime
My
says,
kids don't do
mhm.
bullies.
It depends on the student for me. For the most part, we have rules that are stated in the beginning of the class, and they are enforced unilaterally. But then I bring them after class to talk with them. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm curious
You
about
have,
your
you have any
opinion.
class, you have your
Mm,
agreements and stuff like
mm,
that. Like you always establish your classroom agreements of what should be,
mhm,
what's tolerated and what's not tolerated.
mhm,
I
mhm,
agree.
okay. All right, so we're gonna move on from the Asshole stories and get into some of the questions I had for Mari, or if Money has any, she can ask as well. Uh, so is what led you to want to work with kids of this age range? And I don't know, because like for me, if I was to be a teacher, like I don't know, I could never be a teacher because I feel like it's a huge responsibility, and I wouldn't want to be responsible for shaping minds. But like, I don't know, I feel like at the 11 through 14 for middle school, that age range, it feels like they're temperamental. So what made you want to work with that demographic?
So I'll first start with this part of the answer. I actually went through all the stages. I started off with high school,
Hmm.
and then high school was really, really hard
Oh, really?
in my.
Okay.
Then I went to elementary, which was a very, very crazy, cute, but also very like ingested. Then I went to like kindergarten, pre-K. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, this is kind of cutesy. And then I went to middle school, and then middle school was like, okay, cool.
Mm.
So I feel like with I elementary students and pre-K kids are so cute. But the thing is, it's like you can't like. It's just like I feel like there's not a lot to work on there. Like they're so young that you really
You're
don't
like
have to like
babysitting them.
be. Yeah, it's like babysitting. It's
I've
not
worked
like
with
teaching
pre-K.
them because
I've worked pre-K.
so it's like being a babysitter. So I didn't really feel like was using my full potential at that moment.
Mhm.
High school was very, very hard because after middle school, high school is like it's hard to break kids of their habits. Like if a kid went through 3 years of just like complete shit, once they get to high school, they're gonna be on those toxic cycles wise. And like not to be rude, but like there was a girl, like she was one of my students. She had really bad abandonment issues, and she had really like she like seeked love through many guys older than her.
Mhm.
And it was to the point where like she came to me after school and she was like, "Can you take me to a clinic because I think I got something." And turned to find out that she was going to college parties. She went to a college named Chico, which Chico is known for getting like girls have gotten STDs like the
Mhm.
range and the percentage of girls with STDs at Chico University in California, it's very fucking high.
Oh.
Like I'm not even joking, it's sick.
Mhm.
So she went there. She went to
Chico University? What
she
is-
went to the no, she was in high school and somehow she got into like she started talking to this college guy, and she went to he invited her to the college party.
Oh, I was asking what's the name of
And
the
he had-
university? What's it called?
Oh, Chico University.
Chico.
University.
I've never heard. Okay.
Yeah.
Lady, yeah, we have another Californian cat. Her name is Lady.
Oh, yeah, Lady.
I don't know if Lady, you know about Chico University. Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, she ended up like she ended up getting gonorrhea and chlamydia, and it was so bad.
Ooh,
Oh my God.
Like,
Mm-mm.
but then like I was like parents about it, and then like when I told her mom about it, her mom's like, I mean, her mom didn't even care.
Really?
Her dad wasn't there in her life. Her mom didn't care. Her mom was like, her mom said, I give up on her. Like, if she wants to be a dirty slut, then that's it. And when she said
called
that
her.
to me,
Wow.
I remember like it's my boss grabbed my hand and she squeezed my hand so hard, and I knew in that moment I couldn't go off because I was going from a teacher to a person,
Mhm.
and I was just like how can you feel that way?
Mhm.
And like there's a lot of more hardcore shit in like high school that I feel like I'm too emotionally attached at times to my students that I it would get me into situations that I couldn't get out of.
Mhm.
So that's why I was like I have to like go somewhere where I can make a huge impact and stop that from like happening in the future.
Mhm.
And when I got to middle school, like middle school kids are very chaotic, they're very hormonal, they're very fucking I'm not gonna cuss, but they're very
Mhm.
psycho.
No, you can go ahead. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
they're also like cute. They're rewarding, they're loving, they're funny. Like they want to learn, they want to be better, they want to be these big things that they see on TV and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
when I went to middle school, I was like, this is not bad. Like I actually like it. Like I'm seeing kids like actually make a difference and like wanting to change their like who they are as a person. So
Mhm.
I was like, I can do this, you know?
Okay. Yeah. I guess that is like part of the process too, trying to find the age range where it's like you, because that's because like I'm trying to I was telling you about this earlier, trying to get my social work degree, and just like there are some instances in social work where like because our job is to empower the client so that they can make the changes to their life themselves, and again being just full frontal, it's just social workers don't make a lot of money, so you're doing it, the reward comes from helping people and changing their lives, and like so then like when people don't really change their lives and they just want the help, they just want the resources, at least for me, it kind of drains me. So I can only imagine what that's like as being a teacher and trying to find the appropriate age range where you get that satisfaction of knowing the impact that you made. Let's see. The next question I had for you is, what is we were talking about that previously, but what is the most common issue you see among your students when it comes to mental health and things like that, of that nature?
The lack of support.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with my students, like even though some people may not agree with me, but like when I'm talking to my students, when they do really like crazy ass shit, I'm like, you need to understand we're in America. Like, this country is built on like old white men. Like systems are being run by white people. Like if you get in trouble with the system, like this, you're not built for the system. So when you go and do like, oh, I'm gonna go like push an old person or go try to steal something from some random person that's leaving the store, like those will get you in places that are really, really bad. And the thing is, me with my students, I'm always very real with them, and I try to teach them, because the thing is, it's like if you talk to them like they're babies and not try to make them understand like the ability of cause and effect, like and consequences, they will never understand, you know. And I feel like with my students, I'm always like, you have to be careful, like never let someone suppress your voice, but also like, you know, try your best to be the best version of yourself and do the right thing. Like don't go and do stuff because you're craving attention or support, because you can get support from many people here at the school. Like I tell you now, they're like, I changed so many kids in my life, and I hate to say it in a gloating way. Like one of my students, like her dad doesn't care about her, and I buy her lunch, or I want to cook, I'll make an extra plate for her because she doesn't eat. She was stealing from Target and stealing from like Whole Foods like on a daily basis. And it was to the point where they were like, we see her, but we don't want to like arrest her. And I was like, I don't want you getting in trouble. Like you're a Black female in America. Like it's not okay. Like you can be put on probation or something like that. I was like, what do you need? And she was like, well, I don't need anything. And I'm like, are you sure? And it kind of took a minute for her. She was like, well, I don't really eat. And I'm like, okay, I'll buy you food. Like I will get you food. And the more I started working with her, I realized that she wasn't getting that support. And it's a lot in the Black and brown communities. It's not just the Black kids, not a lot of kids. It's like in the Asian community too. Like I know a lot of like my Asian kids, like their parents are strong, like very heavy on them, and they don't really take them out for like parent and like child dating, like, you know, doing stuff to make that loving relationship between your kid and the parent. So I do feel like support is something that a lot of kids crave, but parents forget to give, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, just going back, what's still sticking in my mind is that mom just telling her daughter like, well, she wants to be a slut. There's nothing how much I can do about it. It's like, well, one, you're kind of responsible for how she's turning out. Yes, she can make her own choices, but like your influence is crucial, and like what your standards are for the home, and she's living with you. So yes, you're responsible. So I can only imagine like what it is for not being able to eat could make you want to act out and act a certain way, like just not being able to function in school because you're too busy worrying about your next meal and what you're gonna. I can't even imagine what that would be like. So it's definitely,
it breaks my heart, but like I mean, like I remember when I was like, you know, I grew up, I wasn't born wealthy. So to me, like when my mom was at work, she would send me to like, I always tell my kids a story, like, because the thing is, they think I'm from like SF, and she's from Los Angeles. I remember like, you know, when Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg came to like this like center that I used to go to a lot as a kid, and me and my brother were there, and they would bring like clothes, shoes, they would bring art supplies, they would bring stuff, and I never saw those celebrities as like celebrities. I saw them as role models, like people that we look up to, and that's why I've always like, I never say I hated the hood, because I loved it, because there was actual people in the hood that actually cared about the Black youth. And the thing is, like, most of my, like I said, I treat all of my kids the same, whether they're Black or not. But I'm like, if one of my kids, like his dad didn't buy him shoes, and he had a hole in shoes, so I bought him shoes. I'm like, you know, like I feel like these kids should feel loved, you know, like, and I know it's like money coming out of my pocket, but if it means that this kid is going to go do good in the world and possibly help someone like I helped him or helped her, and then that's enough for me, because then it shows that good of grace is being passed on, and it's being more, you know, it's not like, I'd rather have that than a kid going out and go fighting or doing the wrong things to get money, or, you know, all the other bad stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense.
I was gonna say, I was searching up the movie. The movie Freedom Writers. Have you ever watched that movie? Like, you're just like the teacher in Freedom Writers.
Hey,
it's a good movie.
We watched that, and they They're like, Miss Murray, you're just like her.
Yeah, you're literally just
Yeah.
like the teacher in Freedom Riders.
Oh my god, yeah, that's crazy. But yeah,
Highly recommend.
I
Chat.
definitely
You should watch that movie. It's good.
Yeah.
Freedom Riders. We are not sponsored by Freedom Riders, by the way. But if you ever want to, just hit us up at 2 cents. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like again, it's having a teacher that cares really makes a difference, and I'm sure your students are going to remember you far into their adulthood. Because again, I still remember my teacher from like middle school and like how racist she was to me, and like that's never left my mind. And just her trying to like belittle me in front of the other students is just, yeah.
Like
Let's see.
in.
That's
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna
say like my entire childhood, like I think almost all of my teachers have been white. Like I've only ever had white teachers through elementary school and high school. Also, I went to a Catholic high school, so that like contributed like to like subtle racism. But yeah, I don't know. There's only a few teachers that like were really really helpful and I could relate to, but like most teachers were white. I'm not like blaming the white race and stuff like that, but I feel like they were not. They're oblivious to like minorities, like what we experience. I feel like they're not aware of like the extra suffering that like visible minorities have to go through, and how certain people come from different households and stuff. Because technically, white people have privileges in their own households, and then there are some people who, let's say, statistically lower income families are visible minorities. So they might not have the resources available compared to white kids, for example. And I know Mari probably knows the differences. But...
I was gonna say it's I hate to admit, but I'm the only black teacher at my school.
Oh
no!
Okay. Is it?
Which is so crazy because the thing is, it's a mostly black and brown school, and we have more white teachers than we have like actual color teachers. Oh. It's me and Miss Laura, who's a Filipino teacher, but other than that, we have like black workers there that work with like after school programs, but as teachers wise, there's only the coach too. We have a coach that's black, but like teacher wise, just me.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's important to have, you can see yourself in. Shout out to the Filipinos. Shout out to the black people. Okay. Let's see. Next question.
He may says
I was so lucky living in Hawaii. Oh my god, everyone is a person of color.
That's nice. I love that.
That is true. Yeah. Because like again, that to see yourself reflected in your teachers is important.
I wish we had visible minorities like growing up as a teacher. Like that would have been so nice. But it's like
because even.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying like. There was subtle racism in like my schools, and I literally got bullied because of my skin color. And I brought it up to the teachers all the time, and they didn't really put a solution to it. So like people were throwing shit at me, people were yelling behind my back. There was it was usually the hockey boys, and I hate the hockey boys. They're in Canada we have a lot of hockey boys. But, they didn't really put a solution. So, when I did bring it up to one of my teachers, all he did was change the seating arrangements in class. So, does that help with the solution? Does that really solve the racism? No.
That's the craziest thing is because, I hate to, because there's a couple of the white teachers I love, and some of them I don't talk to.
Yeah.
But the fact that you say that's crazy because, whenever the students are fighting and they're being racist with each other, they won't one of my teachers, she doesn't even move them. She doesn't even do anything. And one day, I got mad at her in the break room. I was like, instead of just moving their seat, how about you have a restorative meeting and have their parents come in and have them talk to them and actually make them find out what's the root of their problems so they can squash it, because moving their fucking seats or just not doing anything, it's just going to have more altercations and more fights. And she was like, Mari, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm like, you're not offending me. I'm just saying you're not doing your job. You signed up as a teacher, then do your fucking job. If you don't want to have a job, go teach at a white school, and not in a mean way. But you're working at a school of black and brown kids. they're not going to always see eye to eye, and there is some type of cultural clashes, and you need to be able to learn how to work with that and how to fix it.
Yeah.
It doesn't like tackle the root of the problem. Like, sure, like maybe for me at least, the bullying sort of stopped after the seat arrangements, but who's to say like this person's not gonna go and bully someone else in the next period class? You know, it doesn't solve
And also,
anything.
in a sense, you kind of make it worse if you do that. You take the risk of making it worse because now we're moving seats because we know the reason, right? We know the reason that this individual feels some type of way. Sometimes teachers put kids on blast and like, oh, we're not having Manisa being bullied anymore, so we're moving seats. Now you've made her a target, right? Which just makes her more bullying, open to more bullying. I mean, I'm not sure your teacher puts you on blast like that, but I'm just saying
he didn't.
Some teachers are petty. Some teachers are petty like that. Also, like I kind of feel too, like it's important to have diversity teachers because, like, I know for me, I mean, obviously everyone's different, but like I would be less willing to confide in like a white teacher than a black one, right?
True.
Because like I can understand that like, oh, this black teacher can kind of relate to where I'm coming from, and we have cultural experiences that are similar, and I feel comfortable, sharing that with them versus a white one, at least for me. And I would feel like other students would feel that way too. Like, I don't know.
I feel like, to me, I feel like I'm very grateful when a non-black student comes to me for safety and advice. But I also like I feel like as a teacher, it's taught me how to be very patient and open. Like I'm willing to learn from how things are. Like, like whenever like certain kids talk to me about certain things, especially when it comes to their family lives, I'm like, well, I don't understand. And I ask questions and I try to like actually figure out what it is about this kid and this kid's story. And that's just the thing. I feel like a lot of people like they want to be teachers, but they're not built for teachers. Just like I feel like a lot of people want to be parents, but they're not built to be parents. Like I feel like if you really want to work with kids, you have to learn how to like be able to dig deep into them and help them like figure out like, their own stuff and help guide them. I feel like a lot of times teachers feel like, oh, you need to learn how to do timetables. You need to learn how to do this. Like, yes, this is true. But we also need to teach them about not lashing out when they're angry. Teaching them how to take accountability or responsibility. Teaching them how to learn how to articulate their words without fucking screaming or cussing, a lot of things, but I feel like, I don't know.
Because I feel like a lot of parents don't teach their kids social skills too. Because again, like it comes down to like, oh, I worked all day. I don't even want to deal with them. Here's the iPad. Go do whatever while I can get, an hour or two of rest, which is like, again, you learn a lot of your social skills from your parents. Though, I mean, you do spend a lot of time in school, but I feel like at home is definitely where the influence is strongest. Hime says, I may be American by passport, but I do not have the standard POC American experience. Okay, let's see. What was my next question?
Hi, Nabu.
Walk us through what managing a case is like. Hey, what's up?
As being a manager?
Oh, yeah. Or both, if you want. Or maybe
so
what managing a case is like, and then what it's like for you as a teacher.
So as a teacher, it's nice because I teach creative writing and art, and like I have like the full electives. I'm like the art teacher, so there's a lot of things that I can do for like kind of like the freedom. Like I had a Genshin Impact class, I had a comic book history class.
No way!
So I have a lot of I have a lot of cool stuff that I can do.
Genshin Impact,
so
that's crazy. I love that.
Yeah, that's the gacha, getting them into gacha early.
Get them into gacha. Get them addicted to the gachas and rolls. Primogems.
But case managing is a little different because with case managing, there's like certain kids that have behavioral problems, or they have like, well, I'm more on the behavioral problem. Like I'm more on the mental health side because like we have different case managers that are be for ESL or like or just other things. But for me, I'm more of like the behavioral side, where like if a kid's acting out in a class or like lashing out or having like very, very bad like negative emotions, in a daily school environment.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, well, first things first, let me talk to this student. So I talk to the student. I normally like have like small talk. Hey, how are you? Do a little cute little compliments. Try to read their body language and see
Mhm.
how they are. And then after that, then I go back to their basically like their whole student file, and I kind of just see if I see any like kind of like red flags or incidents or altercations
Mhm.
that can play a part in their body language. And once I can be able to like really decipher what I feel like their problem might
Mhm.
be, I'll try to like be like, okay, let me see if I can work with this, and this is the actual like confirmation of the problem. And
Mhm.
then once I'm able to like open up, like get a kid to open up to me, then we set up like daily check-ins. We figure out like a plan how to help them academically, socially, and mentally. And
Mhm.
then I check in with the parents, let the parent know how they're doing mentally. Also get some intel or information from them, like how are they at home and stuff like that. And then once I'm able to get all of that, that's how I can start working with the student.
Mhm.
Um, prime example, I have a student. His name I don't know his name, but he was originally born in Colombia, I think so.
Mhm.
And then so he has a hard time with like basically like he has a hard time with like some of like the school systems here in America,
Mhm.
because the way they do math in Colombia is way different how they do it here in America wise.
Mhm.
So a lot of times it's like he'll like walk out of class and like he'll shut down, and I had to like kind of break it down to the other teachers, because me being like also like a case manager, I'm like, I think him not walking out of class is him not trying to be rude. I think it's he's get overly stimulated, and I think that maybe has social anxiety or some type of like feel or stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it's basically trying to make sure that helping the student get back on track. If that makes sense.
Mhm. Okay. Hmm. Seems like okay.
Yori
So for
says,
that
oh, sorry.
student, is that student what?
Oh no, just Yori says like math here is harder for no reason. That's what she said. The math
Oh,
here in America
in America?
is
Oh,
harder.
really? Huh. I never considered like how
I thought
the
they were more
systems are
advanced in
different.
Latin America. My friend from Cuba said like she was doing like advanced level math, but then when she came to Canada, it was like really simple
Mhm.
stuff for her. So I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it would be standard, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. What is the most difficult thing about being a case manager?
Um, oh, the most difficult thing is when you come across a kid that is like that doesn't have a good home situation. Like this story really broke my heart, because this was at this location, but it was at a different location. I had a he was a Spanish kid, and he barely knew English, but he knew enough to talk. But he could tell it was strong, like accent wise.
Mm-hmm.
And he always like was very respectful towards me, but he had a very bad like anger problem, and he would always lie. And I felt like with me, I feel like there's a reason why you're lying, because you're obviously scared or something. And I think
Mm-hmm.
this is due to me, like getting my master's in psychology. I'm more of like when a kid does something, I'm not quick to pass judgment. I'll bring like curiosity and compassion. I'm like, there has to be some type of reasoning to
Yeah.
this, like type of like action wise.
Mm-hmm.
But he had been lying about things, and he had been lying about going home, and he hadn't been going home because the teachers saw him like sleeping outside of the school.
Mm-hmm.
And one day sleeping in the school, and they thought like, because basically what happened was someone had tagged the school and destroyed the garden, and they thought it was him.
Mm-hmm.
And he like, I remember like he was like, it was a lot of like ruckus, and like these three teachers, and I remember I went off on them because I was so mad. They had basically surrounded him, and they were like kind of confronting him and going off on him, and basically just trying to like make him confess that he had basically like he had did the whole vandalism stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like no, like he was arguing back with them, and as soon as he seen me, he like ran to me, and like he started crying so hard that he couldn't like articulate or even like do his words. And I was like, what's wrong? Why are you sleeping at the school? And he couldn't talk, and he just kept hitting out. I'm like, what do you mean? And then like I was like, I kind of like something was telling me to indicate, and I turned him around, and his whole back was just full with like bruises and scars.
Oh,
And it
wow.
broke my heart. Like I tell you, I was so mad that like after like I had to call like the CPS and everything and tell the other social worker. I went in the bathroom and I cried for like 20 to 30 minutes because it had broken my heart that he was going through this and that I didn't see it. Like I felt like very like helpless. Like I was like, how did I not see this? Like how did I like all the trainings that I went through? How did I not like pick up the signs? And I admit I reacted badly to those 3 teachers, but I went in on those 3 teachers. I was like, you were all fucking wrong because he is a 6th grade. There should be no reason why 3 adults are fucking surrounding a kid, basically like kind of like pushing him into a corner, forcing him to do something that you have no fucking physical evidence for. I was like, that's not okay.
Him.
Like I get that he lies, but yeah, I mean, but there has to be a reason to it. Like you guys didn't even try to like look deeper or anything like that. And I feel like with case managing, it's hard when you come across a kid that has abusive parents or parents that don't like neglectful or that just don't, or they're in like, you know, in shelters. Like I have a lot of kids in my class that are in shelters because they don't have like, you know, their parents in their lives. And it's really heartbreaking to see that a lot of kids go through hard shit at that age. Like I've been homeless, but that happened to me when I was in college. I would never want to be homeless at the age before the age of 13, you know? And it really broke my heart that, you know, these kids are going through these things and they just, sometimes I have to turn off my emotions because if I get too invested, I will be hurt. Because it does break my heart when a lot of these kids are going through a lot of shit and I can't bring them home with me and be like, I can cook you a meal, you know, I can give you a shower, something like that. But that's like the hardest part when a kid doesn't have like the best home situation.
I can only imagine.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, because like there's some things I wouldn't be able to like, I don't know, not process necessarily, but like tolerate, and there's only so much you can do to get involved, right, to help the process. Yuri says math here is harder for no reason because I was doing university math in Peru as an elementary student, but here it was confusing using extra steps, and many teachers are set on only using that specific method even if you know an easier one. Oh, interesting. Hime says I was homeless from 7 to 22, but I had my mom. Yeah, that must have been hard. I can't even imagine. Like, I haven't ever been homeless, but we definitely had to stay with family from time to time when my mom fell on hard times. So I just know, at least for me, I think the hardest thing was just not. I had to walk on my tiptoes. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't just be comfortable. For example, when I lived with my aunt had this superstition about whistling inside the house. So, and I love whistling. She's like, "Oh, you can't whistle in here. You're gonna bring bad luck." And just having to like live in that situation, I can only imagine what it's like being homeless. If you know me being confined, what that's like. Let's see.
At the end of the day, you
you
don't know someone's story. You know, everyone has a story, but you don't know what's going on behind, you know, closed doors and stuff like that. But like I told you, Mari, like I worked in preschool. I was like a teacher's assistant at a preschool, and bro, that teacher was terrible. The preschool teacher was terrible, and these are 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and 5-year-olds in the preschool, and she was low-key, like I think I told this on another episode on the podcast, but she was low-key abusing them. She was verbally abusive and physically abusive to these children, and me and another coworker, we reported her, but they didn't do anything. I think it's because they just didn't have, they lacked the amount of teachers. They didn't have enough teachers. They needed her. So, but like, we reported it to the management. They didn't do anything. And like, these children, it's like, this will be traumatizing for the rest of their lives. So for example, this one time, this one kid, I'm pretty sure he comes from a Syrian refugee family. So he didn't speak like
Yeah.
English, and he was only like 3 years old, but he was crying the moment his mom dropped him off at the preschool, and he was crying the entire time, and the teacher was so fed up with him, she like tossed him towards me, and she's like, here, like, do something about him. And I was like, you can't just like toss the kid, like it's
No
like
way.
toss
Oh
him
my
to the
God.
side. And he was crying so
see.
much, and she was kind of very condescending towards him, like when the other kids were asking about him, like, oh, what's wrong, and then she would snap like he doesn't speak English, don't try to talk to him, he doesn't speak English. I'm like he can learn, even though he was crying, like, I understand. And then he eventually, like, he calmed down, he actually ended up falling asleep, he took a nap. But then it's like, when it came to like the play part of the preschool, like they were playing under like a little, what are those things called, a parachute thing, and then he was he was like
Oh,
laughing, he was laughing, and he was having fun and stuff. And then by the time his mom picked him up, he was crying because he didn't want to leave. So it was cute, it was funny, but like the poor kid, I just felt so bad. Like the teacher was so condescending towards him, and like she didn't treat him the same as the other kids. And obviously she had favorites. It was so obvious she had favorites. I hate teachers who make it visible and obvious that they have favorites and there's favoritism in the classroom, because like it's like a big fuck you to the rest of the kids. It's a big fuck you to the rest of the kids.
Shout out to my high
I
school
mean, I
teachers
teach-
out here.
I teach my kids about, like, I tell them that everything is a privilege. Like, you know, like, I'm like, if they see someone, like, if I buy outside food for a student, they'd be like, oh no, you, like, that's your favorite thing. I'm like, no, they earned this. Like, we had a deal, and I'm always like, they always laugh because they're like, oh, it's like making a deal with the devil. I'm like, you guys are horrible.
Mhm.
Because I have, like, my students, they were like, oh, we want Wingstop. I'm like, okay, well, you have to do your homework and your classwork
Mhm.
every day. You cannot get in trouble in any of your other classes, and you have to be on time and to your classes. And they're like, that's hard. I'm like, well, girl, I'm not giving you any Wingstop.
Like,
Then.
Wingstop isn't
I'm like-
free.
Yeah. Make them work for it and stuff like that, and teach them like the principle of like working hard. But it does break my heart that people abuse kids and are mean to kids. Like I don't like. I don't like when teachers.
Yeah.
Bro, I
Yeah, I
thought
think
that
that's
teacher
a
should have been in a
flag.
retirement home, because she was at least in her 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
I was like, ain't no way you're dealing with preschool kids. And
Yeah.
it was just so bad. Like, I felt like I was walking on eggshells whenever I was around her, but I showed up to work every morning just for the kids. I showed up just for those kids because I loved working with the kids and seeing the kids.
You love that.
Yeah, it was just for them. She was a bitch, okay? I'm gonna say it right now, I hated her. And this one time, I remember there was two kids who had the exact same backpack, and then they accidentally switched their backpacks, and they started eating, like, the other person's lunches, and then when they realized that they're eating the wrong lunch, they both started crying. And it was, it's funny, but it's really sad. It's funny, but it's sad.
It's like, you're enjoying it. Why are you crying?
They were both crying because they mixed up their backpacks and they didn't know. And then the teacher got so mad at both of the kids, and she obviously favored one of the other ones than the other one. She like tossed one of the kids to me, the one that she didn't like, towards me, because he was a bit naughty. He was a bit of a naughtier kid. I understand he's a bit bratty. But
kids, they're not.
Yeah,
she was grabbing.
Crazy.
She was grabbing the kid by his arm and like just kind of hurtling the kid
Yo.
towards me, and she's like,
What?
"Here, like, just
Oh,
make him
wow.
stop crying," like the one she didn't like. And then so I took him, I hugged him, I brought him to the bathroom, and like, you know, he eventually calmed down. But I was like, oh my god, this bitch
That's insane.
should not be
Oh.
doing this.
Now, if that little kid swung on her, she would have been mad. So I'm like, well, don't be throwing a kid like that.
Yeah.
They should
Just to
yeah.
backtrack a little bit, yeah, and that's what I'm saying too when it comes to bullying and that, like, when teachers don't do anything, then they want to get mad when the kids want to fight. Like, you're not helping me, so I gotta fight. Like, if I'm being bullied, and because like for me growing up, my thing was, at least what my mom always taught me, was like, if the bully is bullying you, you tell the teacher. And in a sense, I do agree with that. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like bullies respect it when you stand up to them. And I feel like if the teacher's not going to do something, of course the kid's going to take it into their own hands. And that might eventually come to a fist fight. And it's like, you can't get mad at them because you didn't do anything to really solve the
Bullies,
problem. So
they
they had to do
expect
what they
a
had to do.
reaction from their victim, though. They want a reaction.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
My
insane that
kids
she was
know
tossing kids.
I don't bullies. That's one of my pet peeves in my classroom. I'm like, you a bully? You not gonna like me because I'm gonna be mean as hell. I do not like bullies because bullies lead kids to being depressed, suicidal, and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
And I do not like bullies. And the kid, and I get mad, like when I remember I had this one girl in my class, and I never have ever had to talk to a student like this, but I remember this one girl, she was sitting down, and this girl was like picking on this girl, and she was just like messing with her, and I'm just like, and then she told her, she was like, well, if you don't get up, I'm just gonna hit you. And I went up to her and I was like, you have lost every goddamn sense in your head. I was like, first things first, you should never hit someone that doesn't want to fight, that's not even messing with you, and that's minding their business. And I said, secondly, I was like, now, if I was to hypothetically go to Target, go get a belt and whoop your ass like your mama should have, would I be wrong? And she was like, I said, go sit down because you're not about to come in this school and be bullying this poor girl. She was minding her business.
Yeah.
She smacked her books on the floor and everything. I was like, go sit down now before you make me mad. And she was like, she was so scared of me for the rest of the semester. And I told her mom too, I'm a very real teacher. I told her, I was like, yes. I told her that she was about to get whooped because there should be no way in hell that she should be coming to my class trying to hit on people. I was like, she knocked that girl's glasses on the floor, pushed her head.
Oh no.
That girl was like literally scared for her life. I'm like, no, I don't do bullies. No, that is not what I'm doing. I refuse that. That girl, she cried too. She cried for like 45 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating. She cried for 45 minutes. Like she was shaking because she thought that the girl was gonna beat her up. And I was like, that's not even like you can embed a lot of. I don't like it. I just don't like
to school. That's insane. For me, I didn't experience any physical bullying, but it was like the like, what's it called, insults and stuff like that. So like, like for example, name brand clothes were a big thing. So like if you weren't wearing name brand clothes in high school, you were gonna get roasted.
Oh yeah, that happened to me. I got bullied.
Can't really. I hate being bullied about things that I have no power over. Right? Yeah. I can't.
Same.
You know. Like, I mean, I didn't have them, but like, for example, some of my friends, there's Timberlands and there's Lugs. And now, like, people wear Lugs now. They're okay. And people like, yeah, you're cool to wear Lugs. But if you came to school with Lugs, you didn't have Timbs on, oh, they were roasting the hell out of you. And it's like, I just always hated the fact that like when it came, because like I grew up relatively poor. And so like there were certain stuff I couldn't buy. I couldn't have the latest name brand. I had like Echo and like, which isn't in my time period, wasn't really popular. So it was like I would get roasted for things like beyond my control, you know, like I don't have a job. I'm still in middle school, you know, I'm not middle school, like early high school. I can't apply for a job, you know what I mean? So yeah, but for me, that was the worst part. It's just like, so I just had to get good at like roasting, because like that was the thing. Either you just get roasted or you learn how to roast back, you know what I mean? So yeah, but that was for me. I don't think I've ever had to deal with physical abuse, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, this might be controversial for some people, but if I ever have kids, man, I'm gonna be like, yeah, tell the teacher. But if the teacher doesn't do anything, they swing on you. Fight. Why not? Because if they touch you, if they disrespect your space, then do it. Because the teacher didn't do anything. At least that's my opinion.
I was bullied all throughout school until college-wise. For college, I didn't get bullied, but I was forced to fight. Like I remember, like I was in biology class in high school. This girl, she said I looked at her wrong, and she decided to hit me in the head with a biology book, and then started pulling my hair.
Oh my god!
And and the thing was too, like, you know, like my dad was like, "Geez, and my mom, and not my mom, but my dad's like, either you gonna learn how to fight back, or you gonna get your ass whooped every day, because people are gonna mess with you sometimes, and it just sucks to say it." And I did go to a school where like people would like physically hit me, like. There's been so many times that I fought and it wasn't because of me. It was because somebody was picking me.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting there, like just with like one time I remember I was eating my lunch and this girl got mad because I think she said I bumped into her. I did say excuse me,
Mhm.
and her friends put a berry in her back, and she decided to pour milk on my head
Oh,
in the middle
no.
of the period. When I tell you, I whooped her ass. I was like, I was literally minding my business. She got milk all over my book. I
Mhm.
smelled bad. Cried in the bathroom, and I told my mom that she could pick me up,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
I wouldn't like.
and that's the worst part about bullying is like you'll be minding your business, and it's like why me? I am the
Yeah,
most
me too.
unproblematic person in the classroom. I don't like I've never I did have to learn how
Same.
to roast people, but I would never just like even if I saw them like you kind of deserve being roasted. I would never like initiate that. You know what I mean? Like I'm the most I'm the mind of my business, and for some reason you want to just mess with me for no reason. I don't know. That's the one thing I never got. At least when I had to deal with bullying. But yeah, that's
Yeah, I just.
something else.
But I do agree. Like most parents do say that. Most parents they admit to that. They'd be like, "Well, if I tell my kids to defend themselves." And I know, like I said, it's like sometimes like I try to tell my kids like if you're getting bullied, like don't take matters to your own hands. Like talk to me first. But like
Mhm.
but I've never gotten mad at like I've had a couple of like my students that got bullied beat up their bullies, and I don't get mad at them. I'm like
Yeah.
they were defending themselves. Like I don't expect a kid to sit there and just get hit and then wait till like someone breaks it up.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
if someone's hitting on you, put them away, hit them back. Like I don't know. That's just how I feel about it because I would never want anybody to get. If you were a random person on the street and someone just came out and started pulling their hair and hitting you, I would. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Hime says, I had a child that was being bullied, but I couldn't do anything about it. I talked to all the staff about it and told them that these kids were being bullies. The only thing I could do was make my classroom the safe space for her, but eventually she blew up in a different class that wasn't my own and started fighting. The kicker was she got kicked out of the school and her bullies only wrote letters of apology. Yeah, that's
crazy.
insane.
That's like a
That
one-time
happens a
thing. The
lot.
one time they blow up and then they get kicked
Mhm.
out of school. What the fuck? And then the bullies
Yeah.
have been like doing this for months, years, maybe.
Yeah. And in Japan, the bullying is horrible.
Oh my
When they
gosh,
choose you as a target,
I couldn't
like they
imagine.
make you, at least from what I've read, like they'll make you go and buy. You'll become like what's called the mule, and the bullies will make them buy food for them, buy drinks for them. They'll like desecrate their desks and things like that. Like it's insane. Um, and I'm in Japan. I'm reading Hime. I'm in Japan, so it's so friggin' hard for me as a foreigner to do anything directly. So all I could do was cry and cuss the principal in private. Yeah. And the lady's saying, "How's that fair? I'm sorry you had to go through that." Yeah. Lady, Hime says, "To be honest, I was always roasting the bully, but then later I found out the bully was being abused at home as well. I sat her down and had a long talk with her, and she became better. But it's hard. Yeah, sometimes democracy works, and you trying to relate with them helps because like usually I mean I don't know so much the statistics about how people become bullies, but usually some shit's going on at home and like they can't get their frustration out with their parents, and then that transitions into them doing it at school where there's someone weaker or someone that's more submissive to take advantage of. And then Hime says, by roasting the bully, I wouldn't allow her to act out in class. Yeah.
I don't know. For me, like my bullies, I don't know what was going on in their homes. Maybe they had abusive homes, but I still don't think that's excused. Like that excuses their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember one of the girls who used to bully me in elementary school. This was in the early days of the internet. Actually, she cyberbullied me. And she used to be one of my best friends, but then she turned to the internet and started talking shit about me and stuff. And it was really hard on me because I used to use the internet, like our generation used the internet and stuff like that. But it turns out her parents were having a divorce at that time. But that still doesn't excuse her behavior. And like my mom called her parents and stuff like that. But nothing was ever done. I told the teachers, nothing was ever done. And also we brought it up to the principal, me and my mom. I was like crying in front of the principal. Principal didn't do anything. Principal doesn't care.
He's like, I got so many kids.
He's like, yeah, this ain't my problem. This is your homeroom teacher's problem. Anyways, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm not gonna excuse bullies for their behavior, even though if it's rough at home, because there are a lot of kids who have rough households and they still turn out to be good people. So it's their decisions.
Yeah.
It's their choice.
Yeah, I've had a couple of students come cry to me, because being like the mental health worker, when a kid like ends up having matters their own hands, and they like I had a kid like blow up. He's like, I tried telling you guys, but you guys didn't do anything, and he started crying, and I was just like, and I like stuff like that. Like I will tell my principal, I'll be like, if nothing's done and there's no type of actions, I have no choice but to go to the district. Like you may hate me for it, but like this is saving a kid from like bringing a gun. This is saving a kid from This is saving a kid from like maybe having bad anger issues along their life, but like I'm gonna always choose to make sure a kid's mental health is better than nothing. So, he did get justice, but there's a lot of kids that do tell teachers, and teachers don't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I feel like I am one of the love teachers on my campus, but it makes me mad because I go up to teachers, I'm like, you better fix it, because what's gonna happen is this kid's either gonna like take matters in their own hands, or you're gonna have an angry ass parent come up to the school and cuss you out because like, what are you doing to protect my kids? You know, like, because at the end of the day, we're supposed to create a safe environment for our students. And if a student's like, yeah, I told my teacher that this kid's been hitting me and she does nothing about it, I would be mad as a parent. I'd probably go up to the school and be like, where's the documentations? Why hasn't my daughter had any type of meeting? Like, why have not met the parent or something? I would be raising hell for it.
Yeah, you brought up a good point too about like they can take matters into their own hands and bring that thing and air the whole school out. And
that's the difference between Canada and the U.S. You guys in the United States can bring guns. You guys can find guns, and here, I don't know where we can get guns, unless you have like a license or something. But that's insane how easily accessible guns are in America. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. That's all their can of worms.
But kids get angry, and then like again, they're trying. They're angry at the bully too, but like they're also angry at the school because it's like this is supposed to be a safe place for me, and you're doing nothing to protect me. So it's not only like that bully they're coming to get; they're gonna get everybody. Some people think like that, right? And that it could be prevented if the teacher would do something, but I don't know. I don't know how many school shootings there have been this year alone, but yeah, it's just frightening to think that like, that's not to put all the blames on the teachers, right? Like these people make the decision to do these things, but it's crazy to think that like maybe that could have been prevented if a teacher stepped up and protected them, He may said, to be honest, I'm always roasting the bully, but then, I said that. She says, it's never an excuse to be a bully. I tried to tell her that, but there was a language barrier, but hopefully she understood what I was saying. Yeah. And this kind of is same kind of question about the most common issue, but what do you think is the biggest problem your students face in terms of mental health? And maybe to tie on to it too, what do you think is the biggest help to your students into dealing with their mental health? What do you think helps them the most?
I feel like kind of going back what Money said earlier too, like to me in person, like I think that like the lack of like representation in certain schools is a part in it. Like there's been many times where like if a certain student is not like if they're having a hard time like if it's like a language barrier or if it's like a cultural thing or if it's a behavioral thing, like a prime example, like one of my students, she's dyslexic, and I was like, I have realized being a teacher that like there's no true meaning of understanding. Like I can never understand something that I don't have or I've never been through. And I feel like a lot of people try to force trying to be understanding when that's not the case. Because I feel like if I know for a fact that I never knows I can be dyslexic, I can provide my kids with a lot of resources. And like I end up getting like an outside like worker to come to our school and she works with our student. And I feel like the thing that kids need the most is a lot of outside resources, because if they're not getting that support, that love, or that actual like independent work during school, then it's good to just bring in a lot of outside resources that they can provide for them. So I feel like there's a resource for everybody. Like there's always something someone can benefit from any type of resource. You just have to look for it wise. But I definitely feel like it's just the support, resources, and just the trust, like commitment, like showing your kids that if they trust you, that like if their kid comes to you for a safe space and they're asking like, hey, like I'm getting bullied, or hey, I need help with something, actually being a person of your word and making sure that they could see the actual change. They can actually see the good in themselves.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I had a story. I was like kind of lost in thought. I was like, wait a minute. I was thinking of something. Yeah. This was not in like school. This was when I was a camp counselor, but like kind of Mari reminded me, like there's this one kid during camp, and he was very like loud, and like his behavior wasn't really, he couldn't follow instructions and stuff, and so he was all over the place. And I remember this kid eventually, like camp is usually like by week, so like the whole week, and I think by the 5th day or something, like the main camp counselor person, she wanted to kick him out. She was so fed up with him. She's like, he's got to leave the program. And I was like, wait, he wasn't even that bad. It's like, if you were to give him a little bit of attention, he would be able to calm down and he could like kind of focus a little bit. But because we were in charge of so many kids, no one was giving him attention, and he was just trying to lash out, because I think it's because maybe he just wanted the attention, right? But I was so upset at the girl for wanting to kick him out. So she had to talk with the mom, and the mom was like kind of devastated, because they send their kids to camp so that they could have some fun, but also usually parents are a bit busy because they have nowhere else to like send the kids. But I was really sad. I was like, he just wanted a little bit of attention, and then you just want to kick him out. Like, he wasn't even that bad of a kid. I kind of miss him. I was really sad, but it's I guess we couldn't, I don't know.
Patience is something that kids also need too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to be there with them to the end. Most like I literally have one of my students. She invited me to her quinceañera, and I remember academically wise she was good, but she had a horrible thing with like she lacked confidence, and she lacked like self-love and self-worth. And like I remember when I had her in 6th grade, she was always crying about boys, and I told her, I was like, one day you're gonna learn that what you deserve and what you don't deserve, and you're gonna have someone that treats you right. And it's so crazy because she comes to visit me all the time, and she's like, I remember when you told me like to start to learn how to like to use my voice and to realize what I deserve and don't deserve. And her boyfriend's so nice. Like he bought her flowers, bought her whole freaking iPad, and she's like, he's so good to me. Like
iPad, golly,
damn.
Yeah, like she's like, he lifts me like whenever I'm like insecure, or like she's like, if I tell my feelings,
we all need a man like that.
He tries to hurt.
He's a woman like.
But no, it made me so happy. It's like everything that I told her, she believes it, And I feel like I needed to be patient and always kind of like reassure her of it. And now that she like is like demonstrating those skills, it makes me happy, Yeah. I'm happy that she's doing good, and I'm finally realizing certain things. So I definitely think patience is for kids.
Yeah, it definitely goes back to what you said earlier about just like some people, even though they want to be teachers, they're not meant to be. And like also just they're
freaking preschool teacher.
I think
bitch ass
preschool teacher. Yeah, that preschool teacher.
She should have been retired, bro. But I guess they just lacked the resources to hire. She should have gotten fired, but she showed up to work the next day. So even after we reported it, it was like ridiculous. Multiple reports, but no one did anything. If they put a camera, bro, if they had a camera, she will be in jail.
I feel, I don't know, just based off my teacher, Miss Pelletier, and the one that like I told you that's she had her favorites and the way she, I don't know, she ran her class. I feel like just analyzing her, I feel like teachers come in it with like that spirit of wanting to be a teacher and change lives and do anything, and then like the system breaks them down to the point where it's just like they're processing them at a certain point, and they don't look at their students as people. You know what I mean? They just, it's a job now. It's not like the passion is gone. Now, it's not to say that's all teachers, because some people come in and they're just nasty, kind of like the was it Mean Girl to Nurse pipeline thing? Like
Yeah.
a lot of nurses are mean.
Yes.
I kind of feel like it's kind of like that with teachers. But
You know what's
What do you think,
crazy?
Mari?
I got in trouble. Oh, sorry. Oh my god, I interrupted you, Mari.
No, I was just saying because like I have some mean girls in my class, and like I'm doing a girls group now, like this club. Because oh my god, I have so many pretty beautiful girls, but they're so nasty, mean, and like they have this bully mentality. I'm like, you cannot be pretty and nasty spirited. It's so horrible.
Yeah.
You gotta show the mean girls. You gotta show the mean girls.
Oh my god, they're just so mean to each other. Like they
Yeah.
like will rip you. Like I'm telling you, their language is so vulgar. Like it's crazy. Like they're like one of the girls in my class. She was like, I hate that bitch. She's like, bitch, that's why your pussy smells like fish. I was like,
Oh no.
Yo, oh no.
I was like, you cannot say
Oh.
that. I was like, first of all, I apologize. She's like, no. She's like, she's dirty. She's a bop. I'm like, what is a bop? And then like my student, Miss Murray, it's kind of a whore. I'm like,
This is the first
Why
time I've
would
heard
you-
that term. A
I
bop?
was like, oh,
That's crazy.
yes. Like the girls are so mean and they're so nasty to each other. It's like
They're meaner
it just
than
breaks
guys
my heart because
sometimes.
Yo,
they are.
that's cutting.
They're so mean. I'm like, you girls should be uplifting each other. And they're like, no, she's weird. I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's one of the, honestly, even though we didn't get into it, it was one of the Reddit stories that I was reading through where like this mom, she was like, her daughter's like in middle school and she was having a party and she was inviting everyone except for 2 girls in her class. And she's like, why? And she's like, because they're weird and like, or they don't, their fashion sense is off or something like that. And her mom made made her invite them. And she was trying to figure out if she was the asshole or not, because the daughter got mad because she's like, it's my party, I should get to decide who I want to invite and who I don't want to invite. But yeah, just why? I wonder where they get that mentality. I have to imagine it had to be social media. If like assuming that they have a parent that actually has the decency to be like, no, you're going to invite everyone, I have to imagine it is social media that's causing them to act that way or choose to act that way. I don't know.
I was gonna say something. This is for the earlier point, but what you said about like treating kids as like other like people. I remember this one time, it was so crazy. This one time, I like when I was a camp counselor, I got in trouble because I was being too friendly with the kids. I got in trouble for that. They pulled me to the side, management, and they're like, "You're not supposed to treat these kids like your friend, like they're your friends. Like there's a difference between being a camp counselor and their friend, and you can't treat them like your friends. You have to like draw the line." I got in trouble for just having fun with them and playing with them, and then
Wow.
yeah, I felt so bad. I had to like kind of distance myself from the kids, and I felt so bad. But like if I don't treat them like friends, like what else am I gonna treat them like? They
Yeah.
I have to be friendly with them. They're kids. They're just children. I don't know.
I'm not sure if it had to do with like the ethics thing, maybe.
It could be
possibly that's why they
ethics.
told
I
you.
got a warning, so
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's their policy, but yeah, it does suck because like it's like the idealist versus like what's actually how people actually function. So that sucks. But yeah, like Murray said earlier, it's about support. You know what I mean? And a lot of kids don't get that. They don't get the support that they need to be confident to make decisions, and then that also reflects their choices later in life and how they choose to live their lives when they don't get that support. Like that girl we were talking about that went to Chico University, and her mom was just like, well, she's gonna be a slut and that's her choice. I just give up on her and just I can't even imagine. I wonder what she's doing now and or hopefully maybe she turned her life
Yeah,
around
hopefully.
or
But like,
had a good life. But yeah, I can't even imagine my
Absolutely.
own mom saying that to me. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Like, really, like these kids, like, and the thing is, these kids, like it goes back to like earlier. Like, I don't feel like these kids like need to have phones because I have two kids that are like they don't have the best support system, so they've made like fake Tinders and Hinge accounts and ask adults for money. Like, I have to take their phone sometimes and delete their accounts. Like, I'm not even lying. It's gotten
What?
to
Oh
like,
no.
oh my god.
like I'm telling you, like smart. I thought I would never be this way until
Mm,
like being a teacher, but also being a mental health worker with students.
mm,
There has to be a parental guidance on cell phones and being access to the internet because the fact that you can easily make like an account like on like a Hinge or a Tinder account
mm,
without like having to verify your ID or verify a face or email, and you can just start chatting up with some older people. And some, like I said, we live in a society where some kids do look older than they look, but we also live in a
yep.
society where some
Yeah.
people are not, I don't want to say weird, but they're very inappropriate with children. So it's like
Mm,
it's a scary situation. So I just don't think that like kids need cell phones.
mhm.
They need beepers.
Yeah, they do. I agree. That's crazy. That's the first time I've ever heard of that.
Tinder
Making
or
a Hinge
Hinge.
account and
That's
Tinder to ask
crazy.
for money.
My
That's
Hinge account
insane.
isn't even verified, bro.
Because like, what if a pedophile finds you? Like, come on,
I'm like, what the fuck?
that's crazy.
They verified theirs
And
before
it's
mine.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Mm,
You're me. I'm 28. I'm over here having a hard time talking to people on Hinge. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you using money? Like,
How are you getting money from
Yeah.
these mans?
Yeah, because there was some sickos on there. They look for that. Like I wasn't aware of it, but maybe there's a market for that. Like that's because there. I'm joking because like referencing episode 2, Big Mac Daddy when she was on here, she was talking about like how someone was trying to slide into her DMs through LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, well that's
Yeah.
a new meta, and it's like, well now kids are doing that. They're making Tinder and Hinge accounts to get money out of people. Like what? To just have to be aware of that. Like I had no idea that was a thing. That's crazy.
yeah,
He
these
said,
kids are smart.
yeah, too smart. I think the longer you become a teacher, the more you realize the line between being a teacher and a friend. But yeah, it's bad if they don't tell you exactly what it is you're doing wrong, because we have problems with teachers who have been too friendly with their students and don't really teach enough. But as a camp counselor, I think it's a bit different. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll respond to that. Because our camp has a swimming pool and an indoor pool, and I was in the shallow end because I like being a camp counselor in the shallow end because I don't like going in the deep end. Don't judge me because I don't like swimming too much, so I stay in the shallow end. So the kids in the shallow end, they usually. Oh, thank you for following IDK Kaiju. Sorry, that
Yeah.
scared me. The notification scared me.
No,
So when we were in the shallow end, the lifeguard at the swimming pool snitched on my ass. The lifeguard brought it up to management, saying that I was too friendly with the kids because I was playing with them in the swimming pool because they're in the shallow end, and I don't know. It was the lifeguard who reported me. The lifeguard on duty.
That's crazy.
It was the lifeguard who reported me.
He's like,
I
I'm
do
saving
tell
their
my-
lives.
Tell my students though, I'm like, I'm not here. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to be your guiding light and your helper. Like I do feel like you can still be friendly and have fun with the kids. Like you can joke around with them, play with them
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But me personally, I always tell them I'm not here to be your friend because at the end of the day, I'm always going to do what's best for you, whether you believe it or you don't. But him reporting it was kind of crazy though.
It was a
Yeah.
she. It was a girl.
Oh, it was a woman.
On duty.
Oh, wow. Not a woman.
It was the woman who snitched on me and reported my ass to the lead camp counselor, and then
It was
they
like,
brought it up to
no-
the management.
Yeah.
They're like,
She's
not
like,
on my watch, not
Yeah.
on my
No
Baywatch.
dumping, no flip flops, no fun.
She was fun.
Yeah.
She was like,
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all the questions I have. Money, do you have any more to ask Mari?
What do you think of like favoritism in the classroom? Because obviously I know most teachers have favorites, but like, what do you think of that whole thing?
I think favoritism is kind of like a hierarchy. Like, I feel like if you favor one kid and give one kid like the leverage over other kids, then it causes like this very like division amongst the kids.
Yeah.
So, like I said, to me personally, I don't think that you should like, if you do have a favorite, you shouldn't make it visible. You should
Yeah,
have it
it's
more
true.
be more like private, I guess. But overall, no, I try not to have a favorite because I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, if you want Wingstop or you want like I buy stuff for kids because they need the resources because they lack it at home. But if they ask for food, they'll come to me like, Miss Mari, can you order me food? Or can you grab my food for me if I DoorDash it? And I'm like, did you do your homework? Were you nice to your teachers today? Have you been doing what you're supposed to be doing? And I try to teach them I try to have everyone on the same same like type of like platform wise. But some teachers are really bad about like favoritism. They're like they will give one kid like they'll make that kid like the Jesus kid. Like, oh, you can go do this or you can do that. Oh, because they have all A's, they're on honor roll. I'm like, well, just because they're on honor roll doesn't mean they can go smoke crack. Like, come on, like
it's insane to me. Yeah, it's insane to me that kids are like, you DoorDash me. Like, what do you know about DoorDash?
I was gonna say, these kids are DoorDashing.
What the Grubhub? Come on, relax.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not gonna lie. One time, like they had brought me, they were like, Miss Mara, the food's bad, so they brought me the school lunch. I was mad because that was not chicken nuggets. It felt like someone had basically like they had made like they fried napkin balls. That's what it tasted like. It was so dry. I was like,
yeah, I wouldn't want to eat that shit.
I was like, now I swear. But the thing is, too, I tell them all the time, I'm like, why don't you tell your parents to like bring you food or make you food before you come to school? Like, I was making myself lunch every day because I was not cooking with the school.
I had to make my own lunch since I was in middle school.
Yeah, I was like, Mom, can you get this at the store? And she was like, yeah, and I made my own lunch. But like, if they're good and they do what they're supposed to, they'll DoorDash foods and I'll grab it for them. I'm like, okay, cool. They're like, yeah, but there's sometimes I buy my kids food. Like if they're good, I'm like, all right, I'll treat you to like some McDonald's or something like that. But yeah, I don't.
Okay.
They're different. Well, they're like sometimes they're like, Miss Mari, can you buy me a Red Bull? And I'm like,
no. A Red Bull in middle school?
Yo, what do you know? What do you know about Red Bull?
Consuming Red Bulls in middle school? That's crazy.
Yeah, like, these parents allow their kids to go to Starbucks and order a big ass.
Oh yeah, Starbucks.
Oh my god.
And
espresso shots. That should be illegal too. Like why?
For middle schoolers?
Yeah.
High school, I understand a little bit, but middle school.
I said if anything under the age of 13, anything under the age of 15 should not be. You should not be able to buy a Red Bull. You should not. No. It's not good for your heart.
I didn't start until university. When I hit university, that's when my Red Bull addiction started. But bro, that's crazy.
I've never had a Red Bull before, but I would never drink it.
So don't drink it. Even though I love Red Bulls, I don't recommend it.
Yeah. Not me having a Monster right here next to me.
Oh my god, I actually love Monsters. I love Monsters so much.
But yeah, it's a great. I mean, and I feel like in terms of favorite, I feel for me, what would make a favorite student would be like what you said like if they did their homework or did whatever you assigned them. Like if they were willing to go that far just to get free food, like Wingstop, and they actually did it, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe I have a little bias for this kid because like you're willing to do the work, you know what I mean? Like you're putting in the effort. So yeah, I get that.
I don't understand favoritism. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you, Mari. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna like kind of reply to what you said. Kids will do anything for food. I don't know why. Their stomachs are like food. Like if I say, hey, if you gotta ace this quiz, I'll get pizza for our class. They'll be like, they're studying. Like food is like it's insane. Like. They will, if I say, hey, I need you to go do 20 pull-ups, they will go and try their hardest to do 20 pull-ups if it means for them getting food at the end. I'm like, I'm paying for food.
They're like, have
They
you
love
seen the
it.
prices in Cali? That's crazy. I'm not paying for that.
I mean, at least it's food and not like drugs
Mm.
or something, or like
Yeah.
drinks, like alcohol or whatever.
Mm.
Or I don't know, even toys would make sense too.
I do it for an iPad. I'll tell you that.
An
That's
iPad.
crazy. Yeah, but I don't have any more questions.
I was just gonna add on.
Go ahead.
The reason why I brought up favoritism was because like the teachers that I experienced, like they displayed favoritism. Like almost every single teacher I've encountered had favoritism. It was always the same kids, in every grade. It was always the same kids, and maybe it's because some of the kids, like, I don't know, they knew the teachers, the kids' parents were close with the teachers, like they were mutual friends or whatever. But it's traumatizing for at least like people like kids like me who like felt excluded from everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, Jeek, should I tell Mari the story? Oh my god.
Go ahead.
The grade 1 teacher?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a story, okay? Buckle up, because it's about to get spicy. But there's this, my grade 1 teacher, she had this plushie thing, this animal plush, and she would give the plush to like a boy and girl like every week, like to the class. Whoever's on their best behavior, whoever's like best behaved, she'd give it to them for the week. And then eventually she went down every single name on that list. But then I noticed, like, as the time went on, she skipped my name. And then we reset back to letter A. And then she kept going. And then I was wondering, I was like, why am I never getting this plushie? Because I was the quiet kid in class. And so this one time when she skipped my name for the second time, I brought it up to my mom. I was like, why, like at that time, you know, it was a plushie, and I was wondering, like, am I doing something? Am I behaving wrong or something? Because it was supposed to be for best behaved kids. But my mom brought it up to the teacher and the principal because, you know, this was something, at that time for me, it was very traumatizing because I wanted it. And I was doing everything I could to get that plushie. And then eventually, once the principal talked to the teacher, and then the teacher gave me the plushie. But by that time, I didn't even want it. Because it's like, you are only giving it to me because the principal asked you to give it to me. Like, I was crying home, like, I was crying when I didn't get it. But, like, that was, like, super traumatizing. I know it's not really that big of a deal, but, like, when I was a kid, when you're, like, an 8-year-old, 7-year-old. Yeah, go ahead.
I know for me...
Kind of mean.
Yeah.
She was so mean. She hated me.
Yeah.
I don't know what's her problem.
Yeah, for me, I know it was just a case of racism.
Yeah, G thinks it's racism.
Well, I think for your case too, it might have been racism, but I know for me, it definitely was racism. My teacher, which is crazy because she was a Southeast Asian Indian, and her skin was darker than mine. But for all the light-skinned students, angels, they couldn't do anything. I remember one time, so I had a problem saying ask. I would pronounce it ax, like
I used to say it that way too.
And so one time I had to go use the bathroom, and I was like, Miss Paul. Wait, not yeah. Should I dox her name? I'm gonna say Miss P. Okay, let me say Miss P.
Drop the name.
I was like, Miss P. Yeah, name dropping. I was like, Miss P, can I use the bathroom? And she was like, can you? And I'm like, I'm asking you. She's like, asking? Don't you know what? I don't understand what you're saying. Asking. And she's like just so condescending. But at the time, I didn't really get it. Didn't connect because she was being condescending. But I'm like, what? Does she just not understand? And then she kept repeating it. Like she wouldn't correct me. She'd just be like, I don't understand if you're asking me.
Ew.
And I'm like, at a certain point, I was like, I just gotta go. So I left the classroom and went and used the bathroom, and she called my mom and got me in. I had to go sit with the principal to get me in trouble. But then I didn't get in trouble, but they said, oh, you weren't asking or saying the right pronunciation. And like, it wasn't just me. And I know it was racism because every black kid that went in her class had a story about Miss Paula Party. You
already name dropped her.
That's how mad I was at. Yeah, but every single black kid in that school had a story about how she was either mean or racist to them. All the other, because there were Latino kids and there were like white kids. She was never mean to them. But the black ones, man, we were getting cooked. But at the same time too, the school was supposed to be a Christian school, which I attended, and I guess they didn't have enough teachers because, like, man, every single black kid had a story about her and her racism. It was crazy, but yeah,
That is so wrong.
like I
I
remember
only
she
had
remembered.
one.
Mm, go ahead.
I was only had one sexist racist teacher. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah. I will never forget her, the impression that she I will never forget that moment when I was like, can I go to the bathroom? She's like, can you? Instead of saying you're supposed to say may I? And I'm like,
Bruh.
for no reason. But yeah. Yuri said she
I hate
hates
when
those
people
kind of teachers, yeah.
I hate those kinds of
Yeah.
teachers too.
Like, and for you to bully kids is crazy, man. Like,
That is crazy.
we don't have the mental capacity to really fight back either. Not to say that kids are dumb, right? But like to conceptualize a lot of things and understand a lot of like subtleties, we're not there yet mentally. And like for you to take advantage of that is crazy to me.
I feel like if
yeah.
teachers were paid better, we would have better teachers. I think. Well,
true. But then again, I still think about the Mean Girls to Nurse Pipeline, right? And like, I mean, maybe you're right too, because they're overworked. Nurses are overworked.
Yeah, if we had like if they were paid better, same thing with nurses. You wouldn't be understaffed, and you'd have the resources to fund for better teachers. Better qualified teachers, not freaking 70-year-old out of retirement teachers, not freaking racist teachers. Sorry, I'm still petty with that 70-year-old lady.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else to ask. Unfortunately, I don't really have resources this time around because I'm not qualified as a teacher to know what kids could use.
Maybe Mari has.
Or I don't know if there are any parents in the chat or what they can do to help their middle schoolers if you have kids. I mean, honestly, it doesn't necessarily even have to be middle school. I feel like basically what Mari had said earlier about supporting your kids is important. And if you're a parent and you're listening to this, maybe I feel like take that away from what we talked about, supporting your kids and listening to them and giving them that space to express themselves. So, yeah. Do you have anything to add, Mari or Money?
I was gonna say that just some resources. Always like if if you ever come across any like middle school students or any type of student in general that has a hard time, what I mean, that they use that extra support and guidance. Always refer them to like after school programs or like some type of like YMCA Boys and Girls Club, because those where they can get that extra attention and help in like academics and social and mental wise. But yeah, most schools, and I'll say middle schools wise, the social worker has all the resources. So like if you need like money for like food or like water or for like internet or stuff like that, like you can always go to your local like social worker at the school and they can provide you a lot of resources. Because normally sometimes they go to the district and the district can provide those things for you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for providing that. Yeah, I think this was very enlightening. Getting to look inside like what it's like for you as a teacher and like what these kids go through, and man, it's just so many other facets of conversation we can have. Like
I loved working in
experience and all
education.
that.
I love working with kids, and I would love to work with kids for like the rest of my life if I could, if I had a job that consisted of. But I know how teachers are very overwhelmed and understaffed and also not paid enough.
So, Mari, do you have anything to plug or anything you're working on, any upcoming projects or
anything
where
exciting?
to find you?
Like me personalized or just my job?
Whichever, and also maybe your socials where people can find you if they want to see more of you.
Model.
Oh, my socials? Yeah, I'll type in the chat. But no, I'm currently, like I said, I'm working with an organization right now that works with BIPOC students, and basically I'm trying to like I mean, after like once I do my like little poetry book like release, I kind of want to start like a new like project. It's called like Bridging the Gap. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of want to like I said, like how money was. I want to be able to like get white teachers the training to like how to properly deal with like black and brown students,
Mm-hmm.
and
That
really
is
like help them
so
connect.
important. So
I want to
necessary.
like bridge like I want, yeah, like have some type of like I don't know, just I'm still like it's still in the works, but I want to have something where we can get a lot of like work between students and teachers, especially white teachers and and black and brown students and stuff like that. So that's something that I'm working on right now currently. But like I'm just trying to finish my poetry book because I've been delaying the release, and like I need to like I need to get my stuff together. I'll just put my stuff.
Yeah, and where can the people find you? What platforms or websites?
Okay, I'll put my Instagram. My Instagram is filled with a lot of like quotes and like pictures of me modeling, but I actually post a lot of funny stuff too. So
Okay, well, definitely go follow Mari on her socials, please, on Instagram.
and then that's my Twitch.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Also follow her link, for Twitch for when she comes back to streaming.
I am gonna come back. I'm all, like I said, being a mental health worker, I'm all about mental health. So I think I'm ready to come back now.
Yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for Mari's stream.
Please follow Mari.
I forgot to tag you in the title. My bad, Mari.
Oh.
The title of the stream.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you guys are doing some cool stuff. Like, this is lit.
Yeah.
Hope you guys can make more amazing episodes to more people.
Yeah, we're hoping that we can just enlighten people. Bring more light to like issues and like experiences that other people have. Money, you want to go ahead and plug yourself for any projects and things you got?
In terms of streaming, I have the Rogue Energy Takeover that's happening on the 28th. Is it 28th of March? It's on a Thursday. Is it on the Thursday? Yeah, it's on the Thursday. So I'll be streaming on their channel. So if you guys can come out and support me on that, that'd be great. I'm also doing a glass painting right now. Actually, I'll show you guys right now. I'm working on it. It's another Anya. But this is the glass painting.
Hey.
Yeah, I got commissioned for that, so I'm working on that. So you guys want a piece of glass painting, I can send that over. You can check out my Ko-Fi shop. What else? You can follow me on my socials. I post YouTube videos and TikToks, and I stream every Friday. Also, if you want, you can use my code SexyGG, 20% off. Code money for 20% off.
Hey.
Same thing with Rogue Energy, 20% off.
Hydrate. Make sure to hydrate.
Yeah, make sure you hydrate with code money.
Yeah.
Oh, with money, hydrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, I'm just doing the art thing right now. Hopefully coming back to streaming soon. Commissions are open, so I do emotes and other things. Just hit me up. My links are in the chat. Yeah. And next episode, hopefully having another guest, but we're still talking about the topic. But yeah, thanks guys for coming through. Sorry about the technical issues that happened, but we got through it and we had a great conversation, and I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon, or it's probably night now, right? Have a wonderful night.
Daylight savings.
Yeah, and see you next time. Yeah, daylight savings, roll back. Yeah, see you guys next time for episode 5. And again, thank you, Mari, so much for coming through.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, Mari.
All you beautiful people. You guys were so amazing.
Yay! Yeah. Oh, we can raid out. I was trying to figure out who
did you want?
Raid. Anyone you have in mind, Mari or G?
I think Saya, since it's gonna be this is her last week.
Oh, true.
For Japan.
Yeah, we can raid to Saya.
Yeah, so just wanted Japan. We were just talking about Japan in the podcast, so we can go to Saya.
Raid. Oh, I can't send the message. Can you do the raid on your end, G?
Oh, okay.
Because in order for me to send a message in chat,
Mhm.
I have to verify, and it's sent to your email, G.
Okay.
Unless
gotcha.
there's a way to just like read.
Yeah, it's cool.
To Saya? Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you, G.
Okay. All right, guys. See you next time, and hope you guys have a good night. We're gonna go raid Saya.
Cents raid.
She's pretty. Yeah. Oh yeah. Forgot to.
Oh shoot! I can't
She's
send
pretty-
messages.
Oh yeah. Well, she's pretty chill. We're dropping. Oh, I'll just type it. Hold on.
Yeah,
I
you
gotta
type
do the
it.
thing. Yeah. We are dropping our 2 cents.
Oh, I like that. We're
You guys
dropping
were
our 2
amazing.
cents.
Okay. So
You were
yeah.
amazing, Ari.
Hopefully we'll get enough followers so that we can get affiliated. But yeah. Until next time, guys. See ya. Bye. Okay, and then the raid.